Welcome to Locked In with Eric Morton. I'm your host, Eric Morton. We are known as the worst show on the internet, so we'd like to thank you for joining us. We have a packed schedule today. We have tons of stuff going on. I'm really excited about today's episode. First of all, let me welcome today's panelists. Here on the first hour, we are going to have Pete Carney, Jill Diffendahl,
Hello.
And Tyler Mann, the man responsible for all the graphics and sing. He can sing, he can do graphics, he can cook, he can do it all. So, our producer today, Kevin Lake, behind the scenes. So, guys, thanks for joining. How's everybody doing today?
I'm just petting Butters. I like the Butters.
Just petting Butters. I do have some Butters news. We were able to actually get Butters groomed this week. So those of you that follow her on Instagram saw a picture go up last night. We don't have Butters cam today because there's like a union dispute with the camera people between Butters and my people. But we do have a fresh. She might join me on the desk a little bit later. But we have a picture somewhere. If Kevin can find it later or something of Butters has a new haircut. I know that's big news. I know a lot of you were on the edge of your seats. It was kind of a cliffhanger last week. So maybe we'll dig that out at some point today and get that. In the meantime. I have something pretty special today. We're going to be joined in the second hour by a friend of mine, Jason. Some of you who've been around a while may know him as Earl from the Trapped on Vacation podcast. That's a podcast that goes back, I think, about 14 years, was an original podcast of the Disney Podcast Network. Jason was also a Disney cast member, drove the tram on the Backlot Tour. We are, as an organization, featuring the studios this week as it's the 31st anniversary of the Disney MGM studios, Disney Hollywood studios, however you want to say it. So love to talk to him about some of that. Looking forward to that. He's probably got some great insight for us, and I know he's excited to share it with us. We are going to do a recap. We'll go over things that are coming up. And we brought back our segment that was very popular last week, Disney Deathmatch. And I know I got a lot of emails. People were pleased with that segment. So Disney Deathmatch is coming back. It's going to be a special studios edition of Disney Deathmatch. So that'll be a little bit later in the show. Yeah. Pete's excited too. Look at him. I like the move. Should I come right out and say it? I saw Pete yesterday.
Yeah, we maintained so nice.
We maintained social distancing.
Yeah, we
maintained social distancing.
Mm-hmm. It was very nice. We sat around a beautiful fountain, and it doesn't take much. You can hear me from more than 6 feet away, so it's easy to hear conversations with me.
Yeah,
it was very nice. Yeah,
bar and grill around the corner.
Drinks,
yeah. Brought our ladies. There's a bar and grill around the corner that does takeout orders, and we'll give you 2-for-1 drafts of bottles while you're there at the window picking things up. And so if you get there early, hey, you got to wait for your food. You might sit around by a beautiful fountain 6 feet away from each other for an hour and a half or so and talk and catch up. So it's good to actually have some social interaction.
Is when the cops pulled up and they were going to get pizza, but you were like, are we okay drinking out here? Like, we had drinks all around us in a public area, just out in the open, and everyone's like, are we going to get in trouble? I'm like, nah, come on.
No, and the cop walks right past us into the pizzeria. He had other things on his mind. He wasn't going to bother us too much.
I'm super jealous of the fact that you have a place that gives you beer, like you can drink beer while you wait, because I think every time I've gone to pick up food during quarantine, it has taken like at least 10 minutes longer than they told me, and I always get there and I have to sit and wait every time, and it would be so much better if I could do that with a beer.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to consume the alcohol on their premises, but they're in like a strip mall and the fountain isn't their premises. So like, it might not be legal to drink beer, but at least I'm not getting them in trouble. I don't know.
Eric, did you see, I saw on the way out, I didn't even notice this while we were there. There was a group of 6 people in the parking lot with lawn chairs just drinking in a circle in the parking lot.
Yeah, they had tailgate party.
That was the funniest thing. Yeah, they just tailgate out in the parking lot. They bring their own lawn chairs and just drink in the parking lot.
People are going crazy. Fancy Windermere is becoming Alabama during football season all of a sudden. I want to just kind of go through things that have happened in the last week. As you guys know, we're broadcasting at least 2 shows a day, 7 days a week. I'm I want to give credit to all the people who have been participating in it. I know everybody on this panel has really been helping pull the load to try to get time on air, provide some entertainment. Thank you guys. I know it's thanks for joining me today. I know it's tough to be on maybe 15 hours a week sometimes if you're on 3 or 4 shows, depending on how late they go. We'll start. We had Chris Reed is not with us today. Cosmic Reed. We know that on Mondays we have him, Cosmic Reed, is on WDWNT. Also, all week long, you can listen to him on WDWNT. So that's great. I kind of had never really done it, and we started. Lee listens to that, but I kind of started. I love it. Just park music, everything in the background while you're working, banging out work. Next thing you know, you're, an hour in, and you've heard all these songs that bring back memories. It's great, especially when you can't go to the parks. Guys, check it out, WDWNT, if you haven't yet. Music all day, 24/7. Tuesday, there was a Ride Rehab watches, and that was the MGM Studios opening from 1989. Tyler, why don't you go over some of the highlights of that with us? I saw it as pretty corny. Well, it wasn't nearly as corny as the Danny Kaye type of stuff that you used to do, but like was this with the John Ritter? Was that you guys? That
I genuinely don't remember. Hang on. John Ritter. What else happened in that special? We've watched so many of them by now that they all honestly blend together. So I'm like, what actually happened in that special? Yeah, all I remember is John Ritter. He was the host, and then
was it like Harry Anderson in it too?
Yeah, Harry Anderson was in it doing like magic tricks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a bunch of celebrities.
But John Ritter's walking around in this like light baby blue suit. And he gets like wet at Catastrophe Canyon. He gets wet at like
there was a huge band at the end.
The water tank.
Every special we've seen has had the Pointer Sisters in it, and half the time it's the same song.
And this one opened with like Smokey Robinson, just like in full like fresh out of plastic surgery. Smokey Robinson standing on top of the entrance and like walking downstairs and then going down Main Street. Yeah, that was
They're on top of the Crossroads thing. Yeah, because every opening, as Tom Corliss has said, every opening celebration has people standing on top of buildings they should not be standing on top of.
That is so true. That's hysterical. I never thought about that.
Yeah, so go back and watch that one, or maybe at least watch the highlights of it. Some of it is it's worth just seeing the cheesy, I don't know, John Ritter with a semi-mullet, which I'm kind of working on right now. I can't wait for the barbershop to open again.
I remember we watched a version that had like commercials from the time that somebody had taped when this was live.
Oh, the cars are like,
yeah. So I was more entertained by the commercial breaks and like the retro cartoons that were in there, retro commercials, sorry, rather than the actual special itself.
The new 89 Pontiac Grand Am. Yeah, that was great. I like seeing it.
Oh my God, or like G.I. Joe toys and...
Yeah, and it was like from somewhere in Charlotte too, I think. So they had some like local like Charlotte commercials. Anyway, that's great. Guys, go back and check it out. There was a Deep Into Plus review, Lady and the Tramp. That was with Rob Whiteside and Brian Scheel. And that's about a 30-minute show. They do a review of Lady and the Tramp. Check it out. Not too much time out of your day. They keep it nice and compact. Wednesday, we had Colleen's Craft Corner. They did friendship bracelets. Allison and I think Shannon were on there with her making them. And then Colleen also did like a shorter show that was just making masks, like patterned masks. Who would have thought, 6 months ago that that people would be wearing masks to Disney World? But here we are. And was it anyway at Park Center?
They kind of already were, so it's just
in China they were. Well, I would say a year ago you show up in a mask and they're gonna either tell you can't wear one, or you might get arrested, or you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah,
there are places where it's illegal to cover your face in public.
That was specifically cosplay in the parks. You can wear clothing, but you couldn't wear a mask. Like there was a specific rule against wearing a mask in the parks.
But even like one of those kind of masks?
Oh yeah, like you can't wear any face covering. You couldn't wear face covering.
I think if you showed up like with obvious physical ailments and you had like a medical looking mask, maybe an oxygen tank, you'd be cool. But I don't
They might
think
ask you questions. They might let you in.
Yeah, but I don't think you could show up with like a spaceship Earth pattern mask on, or
like
something
Bane,
like
that.
Yeah, and can show up with the Bane mask.
Somebody with like an oxygen mask for who needs to breathe, and they're like, "I'm sorry, you can't wear a mask," and they're just like, "Okay."
Like I don't know, everything changes. When do we get to stop washing our hands? I don't even know. Never mind. Park Center. That was you two on the bottom. Jill and Pete. You want to plug Park Center? Talk about what happened on Park Center this past week. It was studios themed as well.
Yeah, Park Center was really fun this week. So I've loved the last 2 weeks of Park Center because we've gotten to really do more a celebration of the parks. Obviously, there's not as much day-to-day parks news happening, but this past week we did an entire discussion of sort of the history of studios, walking through different sort of eras of when, like pre-studios, what the history of the park was, and then when studios opened with Backlot Tour and Great Movie Ride, and then moving through sort of the evolution of as things were added and then things were taken away and what we liked best about it. So it was a really fun discussion. Ran a little over our typical half hour, but we all, I think, really enjoyed being able to be nostalgic. And, a lot of us were around when studios opened and got to see some of the stuff really early on and talk about what that was like. So, and what we used to love versus what we love now. And then the week before
when you guys go over. By the way,
no, it doesn't seem that way. I think we actually had a lot of views on this episode, so it almost seems like the longer we go, the more people watch.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, you were going to go back to the episode the week before, which we did talk about last week.
The week before was Animal Kingdom, so we got to do a little bit of similar talking about Animal Kingdom. And then if you're a WIGS member and you got to watch the post show, or if and I'll plug this, if you're a WIGS member and haven't watched the post show of Park Center from that episode, we did a bit of show and tell of some of our favorite older memorabilia and photos and things. So I showed off some old Animal Kingdom stuff I had, or some new Animal Kingdom stuff I had. Rob showed off this really cool press kit he had gotten from the opening of Toy Story Land. Tyler went retro on us and showed a picture of himself as a teenager in studio. So that was really fun. So yeah.
Oh, Tyler was on. Tyler, you were on Park Center. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you out.
Yeah,
I had Allison, Rob, Ben, Pete, and Jill.
Right. The week.
Oh, the 2 weeks.
That's
before. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's our core staff, and then Tyler is like our next guy, our fifth man, sixth man. Is that right? Is that the right basketball term? Or sixth man? So somebody. Yeah.
He's the Lamar Odom of our team.
Tyler's our go-to.
Yeah, he's Danny Manning. Yeah, Lamar Odom. He's a basketball player.
Okay.
Yeah, he was married to one of the Kardashians. That might be how you know, wasn't he? I think he was married to a Kardashian.
Courtney, and then he went off the rails. I mean, but he was the best sixth man in basketball for years, and then he married a Kardashian and went crazy.
Yeah.
All of this is not language that I understand all of a sudden.
There are 5 people on the basketball court at a time per team. What's that?
I said, sorry, I froze before. We lost Wi-Fi here for like 10 seconds. And I was like yelling at Laura, like, turn off all the Wi-Fi. She's like, it is off everywhere.
No, it's just a phrase, Jill. There are 5 people on a basketball court at a given time for a team. So there's the sixth man as the guy that's, first guy off the bench, so to speak. So I don't know a better way to put it.
No, I get that. Basketball was huge when I was in college. Like my college basketball team was huge. But since then, I don't think St. Joe's. But since then, I don't think I've watched a stitch of basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, and nobody is now, and maybe the NBA is coming here to Disney World. We don't know.
That would be so awesome.
So then I want to go then to on Thursday in the morning and early afternoon. We had Party with Pete. Everybody loves the graphics that you did for that, Tyler, and the little dance music. I dig it, man.
That's awesome. Such a great graphic.
Yeah. So I was able on my lunch break to pop in and party with Pete for like maybe an hour. I know you rotate a lot of people in and out. Thursdays are always kind of hectic for a lot of people, so it's great how you guys keep it moving and have different people show up randomly into the show.
Hey,
Sean's always been on there now.
Yeah.
People come, people go. You had Piano Rob on there again. So if you guys like piano, if you want to do the closest thing you can to Jelly Rolls right now, it's Party with Pete. Like every third Thursday, he's got somebody playing the piano. Every other Thursday, really, because you had on.
Yeah, we had Bob the week before with Piano Rob. We've had a bunch of fun people. And this week we have Chef Art Smith from Homecoming, as well as Oprah's personal chef and many more accolades. But yeah, Chef Art Smith will be on. And we chatted, I actually recorded it yesterday, and we chatted for just under an hour. So it was a really good conversation. He was super cool. We got into so many fun different things. I'll give you a teaser. He was one of the original Disney College program people. Like the first batch ever.
Really? When they lived in like trailers or something? Didn't they live in like trailers?
He tells all the stories about like how it was kind of they were making up as they went. He had roommates. And funny how he got Homecoming, and you'll hear all this next week, is when someone introduced him to Bob Iger, and he told Iger that he's one of the original college program people and got his start there. And Bob is like, you have to come back and do something. And he tells the whole story from Disney College program to Homecoming, and it's remarkable. It's really cool.
I shared with you guys this week in our internal chat. I found Lee found an old pay stub from when she was in the college program. This is in the 90s, but it's pretty hilarious. It's like 40 hours of work, and it was like $240, and then 4 hours of overtime was like $33, and then they take $100 out for Vista Way, and I was like, now wait a minute, you're paying $100 a week in right? You're paying $100 a week in rent. There are 2 people per room, and there are 4 bedrooms per apartment. So if you do the math, those should be some pretty posh apartments in the 90s, but they were not. So Disney does pretty well in that college program. I'm excited to see what happens when, I guess they're moving everything to this Flamingo Crossing that they're building, aren't they? I don't know. That was a general question. I don't know. They're building Flamingo Crossing. It's like Western Way, like out towards 429. I think that's all going to be CP housing.
Is it? I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, we'll see what we'll see.
I know they're building it, but I didn't know what it's going to be.
Well, it's mixed use development, so there will be other things besides college program kids, but I'm pretty sure there's college program housing out there.
It's mud.
All right. Yeah. So then we get to Thursday night. Thursday night is up there, WDW News Tonight, up there with probably one of the funniest, most bizarre, kind of hanging on the show, kind of barely staying on the rails the whole time. Shows that certainly since I've been involved, I haven't been around that long, but it was really a salute to the great movie ride. So if you haven't seen it yet, there's a lot of great little gags, a ton of really good graphics that Tyler and Rob had put together. Probably some other people have made graphics too. I don't really know. It was mostly you and Rob, wasn't it, Tyler?
Yeah, there is some more graphics people, but they don't really cover the News Tonight sort of stuff. That's mostly you and Rob. But so, yeah, that show, that was we all like do stuff for the show. Like a lot of us write things, or a lot of us do graphics, or we're like characters, but I don't think we ever really see what the show is like until we are watching it that night, or until we're like on it. Yeah, because like I had no idea what the rest of the show was going to be like outside the graphic gags that I was doing.
Yeah, and I had no idea.
It was the funniest episode I've ever seen, to be honest.
I had no idea what was going to happen. They put out the call, like, who wants to be on the panel? And there were only 4 slots. And like you blink and it filled up. I was like, well, I guess I have the week off. So I wrote some monologue stuff, which I normally do to give Tom a couple jokes or whatever, but I didn't. I wrote it not knowing the context with which the monologue was going. Some of the jokes were already written because there was a gangster and bandit takeover of the show, and a lot of that stuff was already kind of rehearsed and written. I didn't know that, so I'm writing jokes that already exist, or I'm writing jokes that aren't going to fit the way that the show's going or whatever. So I was like, I cranked out, I don't know, 10 jokes or something like that. And I think maybe two or three of them made it into the monologue because I missed the boat on like what exactly this whole situation was going to be. And then maybe 5 p.m. or something like that, Tom goes, I need someone to put on a suit and do like an intro. And I was like,
oh yeah.
I was like, I could try to do that. And then boom, next thing you know, I'm on this show, like, you know, I'm doing like a little bit to open the show. But anyway, it was a great time. It walked the line of like great gags and great graphics, and also like everyone struggling to keep the show on the rails because it was like falling off the rails the whole way. It was a totally wild ride. Pete went insane. We had the Family Feud was probably my favorite game we've ever had.
Yeah. Pete was so mad.
He was so mad.
It was not me. I was not mad. That was a different person.
That was the cowboy.
That was the gangster. And you know, he's passionate. He has a lot of passion.
Yeah.
I just want to say that later, so Ben Harris, who a lot of you guys know from Park Center, was the one collecting the Family Feud survey responses. And Ben specifically said that when he was compiling responses, he grouped together Heat and Shade into one set of answers. So the team, you guys were not robbed. That was how the answers were compiled from the get-go.
I know. I was teasing Nick too. Like Nick was like, you know, and I said I was just having fun. Listen, it's a character. What would the gangster do? I was in full character. I can't hold back.
Well,
I want to verify that on the third round, you guys, the gangster team totally won. Like I went back through on like slow-mo and made sure and like double checked, but the gangster team did bring in first on the third round. That was a verified.
It was like the split, like the crossing the finish line, and you see the blur of Michael's hand coming up as like Courtney's like for it was just behind. It was great.
No, but I agree with the gangster on that. There was a. Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
I was just gonna say whatchamacallit. People were like the third round was, or the final round was too easy. The question was rides at studios that have 3D glasses on them, but you would not believe the answers that people typed in that were not the real ones.
So it's entirely on the air. I have to find these.
I don't know if we're gonna do it somewhere else.
Yeah,
I believe
that was. I'm with the gangster on this though. Like the Bandit team happened to have questions where there were like a finite number of things. So you go, hey, how many? Name the rides that have 3D glasses. You're like, okay, well, there are 3 possible answers and there are 3 rides. That makes sense. But when it comes to like.
No, the thing is that last round was nonsense. That was the easiest round ever. But we were getting our questions were like subjective, and their questions were objective. Like they were like character meet and greets in the park. And you don't know what people are writing in, but like you know who the character meet and greets at Hollywood Studios are most likely going to be. You're going to win that board. But then we would get like I forgot the category we got, and it was like ridiculous. What was the second category?
Emotions you feel when walking through the park.
Life.
What I think it was like things that are bad about Toy Story Land.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like so that's like completely subjective. And besides Shade, which we knew was the number one answer, it's just like what? Like literally one of the answers was nothing. Like come on. That's crazy.
Yeah. The answer is nothing. Who's gonna guess
People
that?
Did
so anyway,
type in answer on the
Wait,
film.
I have some of the other responses. Can I read some of these?
Yeah. Read some of the answers.
So these were real responses we got when we put out the questions for the Family Feud, and these answers are hysterical. And Ben just didn't include them because they were so ridiculous. But name the first destination you go to when you enter Disney's Hollywood Studios. Someone wrote Flight of Passage, and someone else wrote Racers, which is on the other coast. Then name a table. This is one of my favorites, and it's close, but I laugh so hard. Name a table service restaurant in Hollywood Studios. The Kentucky Brown Derby. And then 2 people wrote Tony's. Name something no longer at Hollywood Studios. City Walk. Okay, all right. The Oswald Christmas lights. Not really. And then 4 people wrote the Tower of Terror. Where do these 4 people think the Tower of Terror went? It's now the symbol for the park. And then the last one was name an attraction you have to wear 3D glasses on. Smuggler's Run, which isn't a bad guess if someone hasn't been there. Maybe you would think you have to wear it. I love this one. Star Wars Galactica. That sounds fun. And Voyage of the Little Mermaid was answered 7 times. Again, I didn't guess this, but oh man, I was dying when Ben posted that. Those are so good.
For people that want to participate, people have asked, like, how do you get on? We pull the WIGS members for that, right? So if you want to be a contestant on these game shows,
I will. I handle all the contestants for the games for News Tonight. Generally, I'm generally the person that solicits them. So if you are a Club 33 level WIGS member, you always get priority access, and we will generally put something out earlier in the week to Club 33 WIGS members to give them, hi Butters, to give them priority access to the games. And then after that, it's usually for most games, it's a sort of anyone who wants to join can join, and we'll put something out in the show post earlier that day that if you want to join, you can join. However, for this game specifically, we gave the first access to all WIGS members, and we had plenty of people sign up via WIGS. Also, because this was a little bit more intricate of a game where everybody had to be on camera and where we were asking people to dress up, we know WIGS members tend to be more reliable in showing up for games, whereas the general public doesn't always show up when they say they're going to. So we wanted to make sure, with so many different moving pieces of the entire show that night, we wanted to have our game contestants be people that we knew were gonna be there.
We did make a kind of a couple standalone videos of highlights of the show. One of them for me was when Nick tried to borrow a pen from Tom, to take a pen from Tom's desk.
That was so funny.
Do we have that clip, Kevin?
That was so good.
That was perfect.
There we go.
Go somewhere.
All right, this next one's from the article. No, actually, this one, I'm not going to read this one. This one's not good. Where's my pen? I want to cross this one out.
You have your pen?
I don't seem to have any pens or pencils around here. Tom, can I borrow one?
Don't. Halt, unbeliever. Disturb the pens of Tom Corliss, and you shall pay with your life.
What? Tom, it's just a pen. Don't be ridiculous.
I told you not to touch my pens. Well, just go.
The show had the most elaborate special effects.
Anything can happen at the movie.
So good.
That was a real.
I literally.
That was a great effect
because it was so good. The timing. Whoever was like camera switching. First of all, whoever put the skeleton in there and then smoke machined. In like the 3 seconds.
Well, the only other person there was Colleen, right? Colleen did all that.
Yeah.
Had to have done that by herself. She's the only other person at the studio, right?
Correct.
Colleen's
so
like
good.
best is an expert at like having stuff pop up from underneath the desk or the side of the desk.
I
love
like
half of her job on News Tonight.
The stitch in the ceiling was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Gelatoni.
Oh, was it Stitch? I thought it was Gelatoni.
It was Gelatoni.
Yeah. That was hilarious. I didn't know that was coming.
funny.
Like, there's so much stuff. I didn't know that you guys were. I knew that you and Allison were going to dress as like a bandit and a gangster, but I didn't really understand that you guys were going to take over the show. So I thought that was good too. We do have a standalone video of that. It's a little long. I don't know if we're going to play that whole thing right now, but check it out. There is a video of a gangster who resembles Pete and a bandit who resembles Allison, but wearing a gamer headset with a cowboy hat on top, taking over the show. That was probably my favorite
first portion. She was muted for it, so she's just like,
I know, and someone and then the comments were like, who was it? Was it Nick or Tom? Was like, it's a silent movie.
Nathan's.
She's wearing like a pretty large like gamer headset all over the ear, all this stuff, and she's got a cowboy hat on top of it with a gun. It was just hilarious. The whole thing was hilarious. Yeah.
Like the way they
She
hold
did
the
really-
gun up in the Great Movie Ride, it's like they have to really like not aim the gun at someone. So they walk out and they're like, "Hello, I'm this person," and the gun they're holding it at like a 90-degree angle up in the air. And she did the exact same thing, and it was so funny.
The top seven discussion at the end of the show. By the way, I don't want to gloss over this. I don't know a way for us to go through these, but the graphics were hilarious. First, during the intro, there was like a different kind of movie poster image of each person who was on the show, which you guys did a great job with.
Oh, yeah.
And then there were a lot of these fake movies. Good job, Tyler. There were a lot of these fake movie posters that were really great too, or movies that didn't make the cut. But like we were trying to come up with movies that I think are in the Great Movie Ride, either in the montage or throughout the ride, and then change the titles to them. I missed the boat, so I was trying to come up with like the Character Breakfast Club or a few others like that, but it ended up really being great. I love some of those movies. I think my favorite was Grease with the Tony's restaurant.
Oh, that was
background.
great.
That was a classic. So
I just want to give a quick plug on
go
those
ahead.
too. If you are a WIGS member, we actually posted all of those movie posters that Rob made on Patreon yesterday. So if you're a WIGS member, you have access to all of those movie posters that we did.
Yeah. So check them out. Just more value of being a WIGS member. That's great. We'll talk about WIGS a little bit more later. Then they went to the discussion topic was the top 7 moments of the Great Movie Ride. And this was like a super long debate. And it was difficult for me. I remember
all over again.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I went, I'm watching it, and I admit, like, I'm always on News Tonight, so it was my first time not doing it. I didn't know what to do, so I went to bed. I'm laying in bed and watching. I have the little Roku thing, and I go to turn up the volume because Jessica's was like super quiet, or like I couldn't understand what Jessica was saying. I go to turn it up, but that little stupid Roku remote, like boom, I hit something, it turns it off. I have to start the stream. Everything. I don't know. I kind of lost my place, and I had to come back and watch it later. But no, it was great. But the contenders. For the top 7 moments of the Great Movie Ride were Alien, the finale montage, Wizard of Oz, the Gangster, Casablanca, the Anubis, and the Western scene. And after much debate, the Anubis was actually ranked as number 7, which I don't know. I think it could have been higher.
Disagree so much with that.
Yeah, I'll just go through the order, and we can kind of dissect this a little bit. Anubis was 7, the Western scene was 6, Casablanca was 5, finale montage was 4, Alien was 3, Wizard of Oz was 2, and the gangster scene was number 1. I disagree, but I think that you could have this same debate 10 times and come out with 10 different results. It just kind of depends on who's willing to fight for their submission. I love the gangster scene, and I love the Western scene. I love the ones that involve the cast members getting out of the vehicle. So whether that's the Anubis scene, the Western scene, or the gangster scene, those are to me, those are the 3 best scenes of the Great Movie Ride. I might have even nominated Footlight Parade just because it's so ridiculous, and it kind of is the introduction when you first, like, when the ride first starts, you come around and I guess it broke a lot. I think I read up on the history, and it was like it used to do this, and then it didn't do that, and this thing didn't work, so they moved it behind a scram over here. Like, it has a history, right, of being a difficult set piece. But I always thought that was like on the Great Movie Ride. The first thing I think about if you mention that ride is that we played it, that scene from The Searchers. No, you don't, Ethan. No, you don't, in the pre-show. And then I think of Footlight Parade, because those are just 2 things that at the time when I was growing up and going to the studios, those are movies I hadn't seen. And that actually made me watch those movies. So I would have maybe nominated those. But I think the ones where a cast member gets out of the vehicle are the top 3. Maybe that, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and it's interesting because...
Go ahead, Jill.
Sorry. It's interesting because I feel like that was so much of the discussion of what makes the that's over time. Anytime we talk about the Great Movie Ride, that's so much of what we talk about making the great movie ride great is this, the spieling cast members, how you had this sort of, there's always the chance of what scene you were going to get. So much of your experience, like a great cast member it's like the Jungle Cruise, a great cast member makes it an extra memorable experience. So it was weird to me. And then even in the discussion when they were talking about gangster versus bandit, and the cowboy scene, they kind of made it seem like they thought the cowboy scene was a better scene than the gangster scene, like just in terms of the effects and all of that. Right. And then gangster wins and cowboy comes in second to last. Like that made no sense to me. And then putting the Anubis scene last when it was kind of like that was like that's like the climax transitional moment, right? That's when you pivot back to it's just a ride. Like you have this you start out where it's a ride and then you have this twist or sort of turn and then it comes back full around to the end where you go back to it's just a ride again before it ends. And those two scenes are so pivotal to your experience on the Great Movie Ride. And yet two of the three of them end up last. Like I just, And I think like I was watching the chat during the show and so many people were like, what? Like people were, this was definitely a very controversial ranking.
Yeah, they usually are. Pete, what was your take? You started to talk and...
No, I agree with you that I think what made the Great Movie Ride so cool was I'm all about when a cast member is interacting with the guests in the park. So I like Jill was like, how to me the gangster and the cowboy scene should have been right next to each other. I don't even care in which order. I don't even care where they were placed. But they're the same concept. So like how are they so far apart? Makes no sense to me. I also like how the indie scene wasn't like number one. Like that's like kind of like the apex of the ride. Yeah. Like it's got special effects. It has a cast member. There's like a hero scene. I mean like it's got a little bit of everything. So I thought that should be a little higher. And I don't mind the Wizard of Oz being high too, because I think that was one of the coolest set pieces. That's what I remember from my childhood.
Animatronic.
The animatronic, and also too, since my lack of movies, Thomas S. McDonald, is
hi Thomas.
I never saw.
Unbeliever. Do not touch the Big Mac.
Until like a year ago, I had never seen any Indiana Jones, and I still haven't seen Casablanca or Singing in the Rain so like really when I went on that ride, the only two movies I recognized was Mary Poppins and The Wizard of Oz. So those were cool scenes for me as a kid. But the gangster scene, indie, and the cowboy scene I think were the top three for me.
Can I say something weird? Is the alien scene?
I love weird.
It has, first of all, the Sigourney Weaver is terrible. That does not look like. That is it is the worst animatronic on that ride, and I don't know. But
I thought she was playing a dead woman. It looked like a corpse playing Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, so they didn't do a great job with that animatronic. Yeah. But I can also, the weird thing is I can still smell that scene. Like, when they blow all the like smoke down, like it had that Disney, but it had that, it has that.
It's been 3 years.
Certain rides that it's been longer than that since I wrote it.
I'm never going to watch this. It's the last day of GMR.
But the same thing with like, Horizons has that. And I like the ones that have those scents. And that one was just a scent of like, they weren't pumping in a scent, right? It's just something that kind of triggers another part of your memory of the ride. So yeah, it's the smoke. It's just smoke. But
I think it's
anyway,
the sense that is most strongly tied to memories.
Yeah, I think if I smelled that right now, I'd be like, hey, movie ride. So anyway, there was all kinds of stuff that happened Thursday night. It's a great episode. Check it out. Lots of graphics by Tyler and Rob. Lots of funny moments by our own Pete.
Just so everyone knows, the Bandits did deserve to win Family Feud. Like, I knew that, like, deep down. I was just fighting for the guys. I'd be like, we deserve to lose 100%. Like,
if you want to chat with us, I know a lot of you are maybe watching on Facebook or Instagram or whatever the kids are doing these days. Our chat, mostly that we monitor, is on the YouTube channel. So, let us know what you think. I'm sure that some of I'll bet Bandit Mandy is on the YouTube chat now talking about how they deserve to win, which they did. Congratulations. But everybody got core bucks out of the deal, so everybody's a winner.
Oh yeah.
We had well, there was a new Ride Rehab podcast released this week, right? Tyler, was that yesterday?
No, there was not.
Oh,
There was
I
not.
saw it.
Wait,
Was
what?
it supposed to be? Right, the Great Hollywood Rehab? Did that not get? I haven't had a chance
Oh
to check it out.
yeah, that was an
Yeah.
episode. That was like one of the third or fourth episodes that we actually recorded. So it's
okay.
old before. It's before. This was like 2017. So before Galaxy's Edge existed, before Great Movie Ride or became Mickey and Minnie's. This was actually like right after Great Movie Ride had closed. I'm just going to sidetrack to a really quick story. I said to me and my friends all agreed to go drive down to Disney from Toronto to Florida in 24 hours. Like we left at 5 p.m. and we arrived at 5 p.m. the next day.
That's crazy talk.
Terrible idea.
Yep.
And
But
you guys think Americans are weird?
We picked the time to
I don't
go.
want to drive.
We picked like the date.
4 miles from me.
Oh, well, yeah. We picked the date to go, and literally like the week before we were supposed to go, Ellen's and Great Movie Ride closed. And then I think Splash Mountain went into refurbishment. Like there, like all the long rides that are amazing were closed horribly. And
Now you got
really
a bunch of 3-minute rides. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad. So anyway, I didn't realize that was like an old Ride Rehab episode. I just saw it and I put it in my outline. Hey, and there was a Back to the Future last night about the Backlot Theater. So and it wasn't specific. It wasn't just the Backlot Theater. They kind of went to the old theater that was on Sunset Boulevard. I don't know. Theater, was that called Theater of the Stars or something like that? That's gone. But they were showing they were doing like a watch along of the old Pocahontas musical, which is
that show
quite bad.
It
was quite bad, but the performers were good. It was just kind of like I don't know. It was kind of fun to watch and make fun of, I guess you could say. Maybe that's just my first instinct, is to make fun of other people's art. Maybe that makes me a bad person. I just thought it was kind of bad, but it's fun to watch. And I know that's where the Hunchback show was, which was really good. Tarzan was there.
That was so good.
But, that was good stuff. So go back, check them out. All that content exists for you guys forever. So go on YouTube, check it out. It don't cost nothing.
Just
coming up,
50-minute recap of what you missed this week.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing, Eric, to plug is we posted this week all the videos from Stage 89 last year. So when WDWNT
I'm gonna get to that.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have shared my outline with you before we started. I don't mind this taking a long time because it's fun and time flies with you guys. Coming up tonight, Universal Orlando news today. They're going to be covering both of the Orlando Universal parks. I've heard of them. They have something to do with some wizard kid. And they're going to break down attractions, shopping, dining, and the overall theming of these places, which I'm told are in Orlando over near the Fun Spot. So check it out. No, I like Universal. It's fine. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I like the Fun Spot. I'm kidding.
Yeah, the fun. Yeah.
Oh, hey,
I wrote a joke about the Fun Spot that Tom.
Is that on OBT?
It's not far. It's not far. Yeah. No, I thought my joke for the monologue was good for the Fun Spot, but Tom already had a Southwest Airlines thing. It was like the Southwest Airlines guy said, that Disney has to open basically for the air travel to pick back up in Orlando. And I said, oh, and the CEO of Allegiant Airlines said they're really depending on the Fun Spot opening back up. So anyway,
I like that joke.
I thought
lot,
it was fun. Yeah, it didn't make the cut. So that's tonight. Talk about Universal. That'll be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, give my regards to Broadway, a discussion about Disney theatrical productions, both on and off Broadway, and other Broadway productions and future Broadway. So basically, just a bunch of Broadway. Ha-cha-cha. I like it, Pete. Let's hear it. Pete, he sings, he dances. He's got it all. He's a triple threat.
I can do a single time step. That's about it, as far as I go.
Yeah. Can you shuffle off to Buffalo?
I can. I was in musical theater pretty much my entire life.
Oh, Buffalo's
I'll be on that show. I'll be on the show tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. tomorrow. I have to wake up again. So yes, I will be there.
Yeah, I used to do that stuff. My problem was I wasn't a very good actor and I wasn't a very good dancer. I could sing. I can't dance at all. Acting was a little So,
do you think that when you go to a Broadway show, you have to be in it?
No, people can just enjoy it. I personally, when I go to a show, yes, I picture who I want to be the entire time. I'm like, I would want to be that guy. I would want to be that lady. I would want to be that grip.
I saw an improv group. And people were like, I'm like, hey, do you want to come to this improv show that we're about to put on? They're like, I'm not good at improv. I'm like, no. You aren't in it. It's a show you watch.
That's so great. That's awesome.
I do that though. We went to when we were in New York a couple years ago, I got really good seats for Book of Mormon. I'm like, oh, that'd be a fun show to be in. I'm like, wow, all the roles that I think would be fun have to sing way higher than I can sing. So not a lot of love for the baritones and basses of the world.
My name is Elder Price.
My name is
My name is Elder Price. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, that's tomorrow night, or tomorrow, I'm sorry, at 11. We have pressing issues tomorrow night. I don't know what they're going to be discussing tomorrow night on pressing issues. I looked, I didn't see anything, but it will be a pressing issue. You can rest assured. By the way, they're getting a ton of viewers. They have a good time slot, but they're getting a lot of people are into this. This show's getting... Yeah, Sunday Night Sweet Spot. They're getting a ton of viewers. It's getting a lot of good reaction. Everybody seems to like it. Pressing issues with Jason Diffendahl and sometimes with Jill Diffendahl. Are you on it tomorrow, Jill?
I don't think so. I feel like I'm not.
Okay.
I was on the last 2 weeks, so
I don't know yet.
I was on 2 weeks ago. I shared this last week. I was on 2 weeks ago. I was like, I'm out of my depth. I'm not sure I'm cut out for this show, but it was fun. It's fun. It's serious.
The first episode I was on was 2 weeks ago, the same episode you were on, Eric. And I think because Kevin runs tech for that show too, and he messaged me and was like, did Jason tell you he wants you to be on Pressing Issues tonight? And I was like, nope, he didn't.
Yeah, I was the same way.
I could be on tomorrow, and I don't know. I know we're definitely talking about like some reopening stuff. That kind of seems to be the big topic of debate and conversation and what's going to happen. So I'm sure that will get covered. And I think they're going to talk a little bit about studios too.
Okay. So Pressing Issues, check it out. They have really good graphic and music when they open that show too. That's cool. Monday we have Star Wars, May the 4th be with you. That is, I think that's Nick and Jessica and maybe some more people. There we go. Sorry, we got the graphic now. May the 4th be with you. Yeah, Tom will be on that probably. Monday night, then we'll have Cosmic Read. Tuesday at 11, we have Cooking with Nick. Who knows what Nick is going to make this time? Nick's a great cook. That's what I'm told.
It'll involve Star Wars.
Yeah, maybe it will. And then at 9 p.m. we have...
I couldn't get the spot. I was so pissed. I wanted to do a Cinco de Mayo party for Party with Pete. And they were like, sorry, it's Star Wars Day. And I'm like,
Star Wars, yeah. He wouldn't know that because he's never watched Star Wars.
That's why we're having we're actually allowed to get together that night. I think they lift our stuff Monday night, so I think we might have tacos with the Carney clan. I don't know. We'll see. Taco
Carnitas?
Tuesday. Yeah, we'll have carnitas. Yeah. I like that, Jill. That's a good joke. Anyway, Cooking with Nick, and then we'll have Star Wars Revenge of the Fifth. So plenty of stuff ahead for you. As we figure out this quarantine stuff, we'll keep you guys updated on what the schedule is. So far, as far as I know, there will be a party with Pete next week, and there will be a Locked In with Eric Morton next week. So we'll just kind of work it week by week until they fire us.
There's always a Park Center.
Yeah, there's always a Park Center.
Park Center never ends. Actually, this week coming up is our 100th episode.
100th episode. It's actually like 120, but we don't count special episodes. So it's the 100th real natural episode. It's super exciting.
We do have Party with Pete on the schedule. Then WDW News Tonight will be Thursday. Colleen's Craft Corner is coming back Friday, a special Mother's Day edition. Then Muppets at WDW Watch Along with Ben will be Friday night. And then we're back to Locked In with me. So that's what we got coming up this week. We're looking forward to providing more stuff. Keep things going in the chat. We'll probably interact with you guys a little bit more in the second hour. Before we do that, I want to remind everybody about the WIGS. Oh, wait, no, it's not WIGS time. I got to talk about Stage 89. I have Stage 89 on here. So we released 3 Stage 89 videos. For those that don't know, Stage 89 was an event a year ago that we put on, and I say it like I was there, that WDWNT put on that was talking about, basically 1989, which of course makes it very studios heavy. They got some top flight guests to come in and give talks and interviews and kind of Q&A. The first video that we released this week, and these were, Jill, you can correct me if I'm wrong, these were available to WIGS members before we released them this week. Is that right? Or I don't know.
I actually don't know the answer to that question.
I don't know, but everybody they're out there now.
I feel like that the answer is no.
Oh, but WIGS members were in attendance.
WIGS members last year were there. We had it was a very highly attended event.
Oh, there's a Stage 89 promo video.
So it was available to them because they got to come to the event.
Yeah. So anyway, the first video we dropped this week was Brian Collins. Brian Collins was an Imagineer. He wrote a lot of he wrote like the spiel for the Backlot Tour. I think he wrote some of the story for the Great Movie Ride. He did a lot of that type of stuff. He kind of I really like his story because he kind of came from, I think he worked for a TV station somewhere in Miami, came up to Florida, and they're like, hey, yeah, you work here, but who knows what you're going to do? And he kind of got strung along like, oh, go to the studios, work there for a couple months, goes there and worked his way into being an Imagineer and story writer. So that's a great story. The second one we dropped was Jack Gillette and Jim Mulder. They were Imagineers, and we primarily discussed with them creating the studios. And then Ron Logan, former executive VP of entertainment, talking about the studios. Those are really entertaining videos, guys. I recommend you check them out. They're out there on our YouTube channel now. If you go to our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe. We've added a lot of subscribers lately, which is great news for us. And when you subscribe, click the bell. There's a little pull down that says like subscribe to all messages or something like that. That way, basically you hit subscribe and then click the bell and then pull down and subscribe to all messages. That way you'll get a notification whenever we're throwing a video up, which is quite often right now. But yeah, anyway, check it out. We also want to talk to you about being a WIGS member. WIGS is the WDWNT Interglobe Society. That's our Patreon organization that supports this organization financially. And you can join for as little as $2 a month. You get special content, access to special events. You get post shows for some of our bigger shows like Park Center and WDW News Tonight. All that content is there. You can go back and review it. It's really great. Check it out. Become a WIGS member. We would love to have you. I know a lot of the people watching today are already WIGS members. If you don't believe me, ask them. It's a good time. It's worth the couple bucks a month. And then we want to talk about the super chat. Hold on, let's look. There's a little WIGS dance. There's a little dancing going on. There's more pictures of Pete. There's Tom playing the spoon on a washboard. You never know where you're going. If you want to see Tom play a washboard with a spoon, you got to be a WIGS member. Go ahead, Jill.
Tom with the washboard with the spoon. So we had that was gosh, I think that was
Hoop-de-doo, right?
That we went to Hoop-de-doo, or was that was Rex? We went, and so we had a WIGS exclusive dinner with WWNT staff at Hoop-de-doo the night before the event started. I'm directly behind the washboard in that picture, and every time I see it, I laugh because I'm like, I'm right there. You just can't see me behind the washboard. But that was a really good time hanging out with WIGS that night at Hoop-de-doo.
My favorite is actually the video clip of Tony serving spaghetti to people with his hands.
Yeah. that was the thing. That wasn't like a WIGS thing. These are events that we did. These were like exclusive events. Like that's the Adventurers Club or Union Beach party that we did. People are like, why are there fireworks? Those were our fireworks. During the Beach Club party, we counted down as if it was New Year's, just like at Pleasure Island, and those were our private fireworks. So that's a WIGS thing. Getting handed spaghetti is just something that can happen if you come to the Halloween show.
Hang around us long enough.
Otherwise, you just get penne like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we
That's
also
the top
talk about
of
the super chat
imagination.
with you guys every week. If you were on the
There's
YouTube
Nathan
channel,
advertising coffee.
yeah. If you're watching us on YouTube, there's a little $sign there at the bottom of the chat. Feel free to click that. It's easy to donate. You could toss money in a super chat if you want to show us some appreciation. Every penny helps right now, so do that. We'd love to get super chat or super sticker donations. We're going to go to a break. When we come back from the break, but don't cut us to break quite yet, Kevin. I just want to say when we come back from the break, we are going to have Earl from Trapped on Vacation. Eric Wolf is going to be joining us. I believe, Jill, you have to go, right?
I'm taking off, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Jill's going to fix a fence again or something.
Literally.
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, we're going to lose Joe. We're going to pick up Eric Wolf. We're also going to add Earl from Trapped on Vacation and do a little Q&A with him. And don't forget your favorite Disney Deathmatch. Thanks, guys, for joining us. You're watching Locked In with Eric Morton and, of course, all of our friends. Thank you. We'll see you in a minute. Fake commercials coming up now.
Let's jump into this studio stuff.
Very, very bizarre job I had, trying to explain to my wife sometimes when I came home what I was doing at work. Ugh.
And only had 6 months to prepare.
That's like the same as now.
Something that stopped us now. I'll tell you how. We're gonna live on through it. Let's stay inside and spend our time taking things in stride. Good times aren't held at bay. Just stay away from the population and wash your hands to kill off those bacterial strands. Now we're trying to keep a little distance. It's for sure our best resistance to making things a whole lot worse. Come on, kids, let's all go down to the sink. Wash those grubby little hands of yours. 20 seconds. You never know, it might just save a life. Something that stopped us now, but don't you fret, it'll for sure get better. We'll soon be hand in hand, going down to Disneyland. Oh, won't that be so grand, though something has stopped us now. Ah-cha-cha.
With the success of Pizza Rizzo and the Regal Eagle Smokehouse, we here at Walt Disney Imagineering have learned that our guests love bad counter service food with minimal Muppets theming. So, here comes more Muppet eateries at Disney parks. Yay! At Disney's Hollywood Studios, grab a wrapped sausage at Rolf's Roasters. Rolf has relocated to the edge of the galaxy to pick up piano-playing gigs at Oga's, but the money hasn't been great, so Rolf the dog has started slinging dogs at Blackspire Outpost's hottest new wiener joint. If you're visiting Epcot in 2022, get ready for a lightly re-themed dining experience that somehow took us 2 years to complete. It's Dr. Teeth and the Electric Umbrella. Can you just picture that? Imagine eating a dry flatbread to saying goodbye while you sit there and think about all of your favorite things we've ripped out of this park. Are you excited? Well, we won't take no for an answer. Then, head on over to Disney Springs for a trio of Muppets eateries. Grab some barbecue at the Miss Polite Piggy, some affordable chicken tenders from Chicken Gonzo's, and stop by the West Side for Pepe by Pepe. And no, not Jose Andres.
Come have a sandwich, okay?
And at Disney's Animal Kingdom, our most popular concept is getting a second home. Be sure to visit Pizzafari after we finish converting it into Pizza Rizzo 2.
They're tourists. They don't know good pizza.
The Muppets. We won't do anything new with them, but let's plaster their images in the background of restaurants.
From the creators of Clue, Disney Parks Edition comes an all-new version of the board game you love, themed to a park you're trying to continue loving. It's Sorry, the Epcot Edition, and whoa boy, do kids love it.
Wowie, the whole board is themed to my favorite attractions from before I was born, and whatever is left of the park.
How do we play?
It's easy. Just roll the dice, move your piece, and draw one of the event cards.
Spaceship Earth is getting redone.
All right.
With no sponsor, and it will be about storytelling. Sorry.
Wait, so the card says sorry? What does that mean?
It means we're just sorry, okay? We're trying our best here.
Are you really, though? Figment is back, but Dreamfighter is dead. Sorry.
Club Cool is coming back, but you have to wait for 4 years. Sorry.
There's a restaurant in space, but it only serves the Maria and Enzo's menu. Sorry. So, how do you win?
You can't win. There is no winning.
I feel like this is about more than a board game.
Sorry, the Epcot edition. Available at Mouse Gear and all new sterile white gift shops at Disney Parks.
My 4th Disney trip of 2020 was canceled, and my one-woman authorized travel agency isn't getting any business with this closure. Help me, Ganondola.
Was your 500th in a lifetime Disney vacation canceled? Are you being selfish during a world crisis and want restitution for your losses as a travel agent? Call 1-777-777-7777 for the law offices of Gon and Dola.
Hello, I'm Bud G. Gunn.
And I'm Roz Dola.
How dare the Walt Disney Company cancel your dream vacation? We say you make them pay for it.
We'll fight for you until you get a complimentary stay inside the Cinderella Castle Suite, because your trip cancellation is more important than anyone else's.
We may all be practicing social distancing, but why don't you try some money closening?
We'll even get you some extra fast passes.
It's going to be so busy when the parks reopen that you're going to need them.
Do you even believe what you're saying anymore?
Nope.
Gon and Dola also handle wrongful termination cases for CEOs appointed just before a global crisis, where the former CEO knew it was coming. Call 1-777-777-7777 for you to get the justice you don't actually need right now. Unmute. We always have to unmute, right? Everybody drink when you have to unmute. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that little break where you're able to go fix yourself a nice cold beverage, get something to eat, get a snack, whatever it is. We are back now. Jill had to go. We still have Pete Carney with us, and we've added to the crew. Hey, it's we have Eric Wolf now is in the house.
Hey.
And then down at your bottom right, I have a friend of mine, Jason. Jason, some of you might recognize his voice when he starts talking. If you ever were into the Disney podcast, Jason is Earl from Trapped on Vacation, which is, I think, a 14-year-old podcast. It's been around. 15. It's one of kind of the 15, one of the kind of OG.
Too old for Nick.
Yeah, too old for Nick. It aged out of Nick's van. Ouch. So anyway, one of the OGs of the Disney podcast, and the podcasting has kind of changed over the years. This is back kind of when podcasts there's some production time put into them, a lot of music editing, a lot of parks audio with binaural microphones, all those types of things that I still really love. I think a lot of podcasting has gone the route of Joe Rogan, where it's just, hey, they do a live stream and then they, throw it up as a podcast, which is great. People like that too. But I still think there's a room for those podcasts like Trapped on Vacation. Anyway, welcome, Earl. How are we doing today?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So in addition to being a Disney podcaster, you were also a cast member. Pete misses
I was
you,
22
Wolf.
years.
Yeah.
And it's not I am a cast member.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you are a cast member. You are, you have kind of been around the block as a Disney cast member. How did your time with Disney start? Was this a college program Genesis story, or?
Sort of. I graduated from college. I had no idea what I was going to do, so I came down here, and I've been here for 22 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you know,
it happens.
Yeah. As you know, this is a studios themed week here at WDWNT, and I know that you have very fond memories of I don't know if it was your first job at Disney, but you were a tram driver on the Backlot Tour, right? Oh, it was not your first job.
I was not a tram driver. I was a shuttle driver.
I'm sorry, a shuttle driver. Please, I beg your pardon.
Although now there's not so much of a difference, because the joke used to be trams don't have doors, but now they do. But yeah, that was.
But now that trams have doors,
contention now. Yeah, now trams have doors because people are stupid. But
yeah, I think the Navy will argue about like a boat or a ship. But anyway,
yeah, so I worked with Backlot from.
Go ahead.
Go from 2000 to 2004. So it was a good time back when there was still both a backlot and a tour.
Okay, so yeah, wow, and there was kind of a studio. So
there was
that tour kind of changed over the years.
Sorry.
Yeah, go for it, Pete. You P.S. where you're from.
Where are you originally from? Before, like, were you always a Floridian, or before you came?
No, I'm from Michigan.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I noticed an accent, and then I was super curious, and because I also like to know like origin stories. So, where'd you go to college, and then how'd you end up down in Orlando?
Well, I started. I was at Eastern Michigan University, and I was working at the Disney store in Ann Arbor, and then I transferred down here, and I started the Disney store in '97. Then I transferred down here in '98. So my 22 years doesn't all include being here. It includes 1 year at the mall, but it still works.
Cool.
That was back when the Disney store was pretty cool, though.
Shows.
It was.
Go on, Eric.
Yeah. No, tell us the story then, how this came about. So you moved down to Florida. You're passionate about Disney, and it's something that you want to do. You're already a cast member. You go to the Disney store and they just say, "Hey, we have a transfer available," or you ask for a transfer, or how's that work? You just came down blind.
Well, I kind of did it the wrong way, because apparently there wasn't supposed to be store to park transfers back then, because there were two different parts of the company. I was supposed to term and then get rehired, but I didn't, and it was a long, convoluted story. My time transferred, my seniority did not, and yeah, it was confusing. Casting kind of did it the wrong way, and I did it the wrong way, but I kind of weaseled my way into a transfer.
No, here you are now.
It was a different time and a different place. Like, I don't think that would happen today. Well, now stores and parks are all under, the former kingdom of Bob Chapstick, but
yeah,
so it would be okay to do right now, but back then
he's
it was
a popular figure here on WDWNT. We'll try to keep you out of trouble.
Okay.
So anyway, you come down and you get a job at the parks doing what?
I was working at the land pavilion on the boat ride. Was my first job, was pointing at plants and acting like I knew what I was talking about.
That's actually, I think, a cool job. I think a lot of people would take that job. I think a lot of people would think that would be a fun job. I don't know. At least you have a microphone and a boat.
I had a microphone, a boat. I could tell the jokes if nobody was around to listen. It was a good time. It was like a boring Jungle Cruise, and I pointed at plants, and my one of my highlights of my life was I made Ryan Reynolds completely crack up.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
You want to tell that story, or?
Yeah. This is great. Hold on.
You guys in a restroom, or was this on a ride? What happened?
I was giving the tour on the land boat ride back when they had a tour guide. But first, I put this on because I thought it'd be funny. My Backlot old costume.
Yeah.
But I am no longer a
Appreciate
medium. I got to take this off.
Take a couple buttons down. It's okay.
Yeah, I am no longer a medium. I just squeezed into it because I thought it'd be funny. And yeah, so hold on.
No, I love it.
Okay,
I love it.
so-
It is Studios Appreciation Week.
So back when Test Track was opening up, as you know, for big attraction openings, they hauled in all the Disney celebrities or ABC celebrities and parade them around. Well, back then it was two guys, a girl, and a pizza place, like before Ryan Reynolds was a movie star, and so he rode my boat whenever. Yeah, it was his show that he was on.
Oh, okay.
On ABC. And
Two guys,
it was not good.
Whenever two guys, a girl.
Have you not heard of that?
Was, yeah.
It's a weird show. That's the whole concept.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was a joke or a real show, so I just figured I'd ask. Because there's probably one other person out there listening that's like me.
Well, whenever guest relations or the VIP tour guides came, they always sat in the front row. So you're like that little stool that the tour guide sat on was like a foot and a half away from whoever was in the front row. So at the beginning, as you're going through, everything is on that side of the boat. Ryan Reynolds he just makes this comment. He's like, in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth, and everything was on that side of the boat. So I just go, yeah, it's all right. And like that started it. And then he keeps making jokes around, and we're going back and forth like through the desert, the farm, and the rainforest scene. We get into the part where I'm actually talking, and we get to the cucumbers, which were 16 inches long. And I just looked at him. I'm like, I put my microphone down. I said, I'm like, bring it on. And I've heard it all with 16-inch long cucumbers.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got nothing. And then we go around into the aeroponics garden, and they have dangling exposed roots of squash plants. And I said the spiel, what I was supposed to say. And he completely lost it because I said the phrase dangling exposed roots. Which yeah.
So the spiel got him. Your delivery of the spiel got him.
But yeah. But he's like, are you supposed to say that? I'm like, I just did. And yeah, it was
dangling exposed roots. Dangling exposed roots. I'm going to remember that for Cards Against Humanity or something one day. Okay, so you end up from there. Then did you go from the land straight to getting another microphone and being on the studio Backlot tour, or?
No, I went from the land to getting another microphone and talking about Xerox copiers and printers over at Innovations on the road to tomorrow.
Oh boy, that is riveting stuff.
Docu-stamps and electronic reusable paper. Which, okay.
Was this punishment? Did you do something to piss somebody off?
No, I actually, because I'm a big tech nerd. I wanted to go over there, and the funny thing is, like,
to talk about
Xerox
copiers. Me, please.
Well, I wasn't talking about the copiers were like a side thing. The main presentation was about their e-ink display. It was electronic reusable paper. And like back in 99, e-ink was like magic. And literally our presentation was like almost like magic wand magic. So but in the script, the guys from Xerox PARC, they said that the technology was still about 7 years away. Which, when did the Kindle come out? 2006. So they were exactly right. It was like, it was cool. And then from there, I went to the Backlot Tour.
Yeah. So how's that start? You show up and they give you a microphone. Like they put you with somebody, you learn the spiel, and then you're on your own, or did you have to like first you're like the guy that loads people onto the ride, and then you work and you're the driver, and then you work your way up to the spiel, or how's this work? I don't remember. I don't remember if there was a. Yeah.
The training at the Backlot. First, you Well, it's all inclusive, but basically the most important thing to learn is to drive, because that was the safety part. So
yeah,
you would just, I mean,
you just spin the wheel and just hope you get where you're going. All right, well, over here on the left.
Oh, look, it's Blanche Devereaux in her underwear getting the mail.
Yeah. So it was usually like if I recall, it was a 2-week training period. Whoa, I just hit my mic. Sorry about that. If that bumped you.
You're good. You're good.
2-week training period. We had time to memorize the 64 pages of script, and then we would drive for the majority of the day. So, like, we would just go around with a trainer and like just drive, because he had to learn the right.
I don't know if you listened on our first segment. We talked about our Stage 89 event, and we had Brian Collins on there. I believe Brian Collins wrote the spiel for the Backlot Tour. Were you aware of that, or
he wrote the bones of the spiel that I had. By the time I got there, it had evolved. I was in the Mike West, Jason Sorrell era, and a little bit of Daryl Pickett were the main show writers for the script that I had. But I mean, the bones from the original script for things like the Golden Girls House and the Earful Tower, those all came down from the beginning. But by the time it had changed so much from 1989 to 2000. I mean, yeah, it was totally different, but still a lot was still there.
I have a couple questions. Number one, how fast can that shuttle really go? Are you flooring it on that thing? It goes like 8 miles an hour, or can you get it there in the morning when nobody's there and open it up a little bit and shake a little bit of the dew off of the seat
with the back cart?
Top speed on that was, I think, 15.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
like if you recall the first, well, it wasn't the first tour, but do you remember coming back from Catastrophe Canyon, going through the Boneyard the second time when you'd have the straight shot before you turned at the Backlot Theater?
Yeah.
At that spot was floor it. You lay the hammer down and you go maybe 15
all the way to
miles an hour.
15.
Thing is, we don't know. We only had the RPMs. We didn't have speed, so we would know. Like it was set. It was already in gear. You couldn't move it out of gear, and
you only know.
You just had to put the parking brake on. And so you couldn't move it out of gear. So you couldn't put it in reverse. You couldn't do anything. It was set, and then you had to drive like. When you leave load, we would drive at like 15 RPMs, and then we'd go up to, like go down to 11 at certain areas, or we didn't have actual speeds.
So Pete had I didn't even get to my second question yet. Pete had a guest on Thursday, Piano Rob. Rob's a pianist at Jelly Rolls, but he actually was once a backlot driver. Do we know, Pete? Do we know what time frame Rob was a shuttle driver?
Was, I believe, early 2000s. Rob Volpe was his name, but he was he did it while on the Disney. What? Hold on, I might have it in my notes, my show notes.
No, you can circle back with us if you find it. I'm just curious. Yeah, I did text back and forth with Jason. I don't think he knew Rob by name. He might know him by face, or they might know each other by face. But I don't know how many shuttle drivers you had.
He worked backlot from 05 to 09. That's when he was on the backlot.
Oh, okay.
So I may have worked him once in 06. I got recertified. I worked a couple shifts because I was friends with the manager, and she let me get recerted over there. So I was just after my era.
Now, when you're doing that, how much latitude do you have to improvise or kind of make the spiel your own when you're doing that?
Well, since I haven't worked there in 20 years, and the attraction is now closed, we had 0 latitude and 100% at the same time.
Right. So you were not allowed to improvise, and you were improvising all the time. Is that kind of fair to say?
You cannot go on script, and then you get trained. You're like, but that guy is not saying the script, and it's like, oh, cool, bro.
I always had additions. I always stuck to the script, but I'd also plus it up a bit.
Plus it.
Like
Walt
I would never say something completely wrong that wasn't in the script, but scratch that. I would never, if I was talking about, like, I would stick to the script, but then I'd also say that Catastrophe Canyon was used in Duran Duran's 1984 Hungry Like the Wolf video.
That is not true. I know that's not true.
Fact.
Well, yeah, the park opened, 6 years later, or 4 years, 5.
I know that's not true.
I remember
the other question I have about it.
I was just going to ask you, Great Movie Ride. I remember the script for Great Movie Ride. It said something like the main host is not supposed to stand out or be comedic. They're just supposed to be there and be like a movies fan type character. Like they're not supposed to completely draw the attention of the entire group of people. Was there anything like that for like the backlot for when you were doing like the spiel and everything?
No, we were supposed to we were given information, and like when I said the 64-page spiel, we use on a daily basis probably about maybe half that, but all the other information was there because we would sometimes things would it would break down and we'd be stuck there. So then we'd have to pull. It was facts. Like improv. We're sitting in one spot, so you got to keep the people entertained. So the pages, it was just extra information. But we used maybe half of what we had memorized. But we pulled from our bank if we had to. Sometimes on super busy days, you have to drive super slow, because if you have with capacity of the canyon, if you have 5 shuttles online, if you're driving the normal speed, you're going to get to the canyon and you're going to be stuck there. So you'd have to go super slow through the rest of the tour. So then we talk about the houses that we normally wouldn't talk about.
Right. I got it.
If that makes any sense.
So Jason, just so you know, I'm going to introduce you to Tyler, man, up top center. Tyler has a podcast called Ride Rehab. Wrong way, Jason. There you go. Hello. Ride Rehab. So Ride Rehab, the concept is essentially that they kind of retheme, reskin, redo rides or attractions, maybe even get rid of some, put a new one in. I don't know. Has Ride Rehab done a backlot discussion yet, Tyler?
We really couldn't, because it was before Tom's time when he went to Disney. So we've definitely done studios, but we never covered the whole backlot experience, although that would be a good episode. It's just covering stuff that we've never been on or hasn't existed and how we would retheme it. But yeah, that would be a super fun episode, honestly.
Yeah, or at least have Catastrophe Canyon. Yeah. At least bring up Catastrophe Canyon, maybe revitalize it where it is right now, which I think it's in Galaxy's Edge, right? Catastrophe Canyon now is in Galaxy's Edge.
Well, all of the backlot is Galaxy's Edge, except for from the costuming tunnel down. That's why I have my Black Spire tour.
Yeah,
that's a great.
I like it.
That's a great shirt design.
When you would bring a shuttle into the Catastrophe Canyon area, who triggers the effects of Catastrophe Canyon? Is that done by you, or is there somebody hidden that we can't see that does it, or is it automated? How's that work?
It was automated to an extent. Like the driver, when you drive in, you're driving with your head stuck out the window, literally hanging out the side window, looking at marks on the ground, and you're lining up the hubcap with the line on the ground. And when you stop, you stop there, it pauses, and the show is triggered.
Okay.
But if you're off the mark going in, then it would trigger a safety system, so it wouldn't trigger the shaker tables. Because if you drove in and you were swerving around, when the tables start shaking, if they weren't in the right spot, they wouldn't rotate right. So you could break the shuttle in half, or so I was told.
Did you ever have to do a flyby? Like you missed your mark and you had to keep going, or no? I guess there's times when you drove in there and the canyon was broken. It has to have been.
Or we knew how to break the canyon.
Oh, I don't want to know this.
When they rolled out the deployment system, like back in, it was like 2001 when deployment went through. Before that, everyone went on a rotating system. And when deployment rolled out, if you rolled off the mark if you just let your foot off the brake, and the shuttle would move at a certain point in the show, the whole thing would stop. Normally, it would stop the shaker tables and the show would go on. Like, you'd still get the waterfall and the explosions, but if you did it at exactly the right time, everything would go down and maintenance would have to come out to reset you, and you couldn't drive out of the canyon because the shaker tables weren't locked. So it would go 101.
Oh, nice. And good times.
People may have used that to their advantage to keep deployment out of the backlot for a few years. We may have, when the backlot opened in Paris, we may have called them on the tie line and taught them how to do it as well. It wasn't me, but the general
wasn't you, but somebody.
That's the best part of that whole tour, and if that was broken, I'd be so pissed.
Well, it would. Okay, the thing is, it wouldn't stop the show, but you couldn't drive out. So when the reason it broke, we also broke deployment was because the computer would say, okay, this person has to come back at this point in time, and then you log in and it sends you out someplace else. You give a piece of paper to. You've seen cast members put bumps. You know, they hand the piece of paper off and the other cast member goes wherever they need to go.
That's how they keep
right. Well, when the computer would expect, 16 people in a certain amount of time to come through and put a bump through, and nothing happened, it would just explode, and deployment would break, and we'd have to go back into the old system. So, the cast members there, they did that long after I left.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, I get it. Also, just on a personal note, I've been to your backyard. You do have a Catastrophe Canyon scale model railroad in your backyard, right?
I do. I've been working on that. Like pretty much most of the furlough, I started off working on that. Oh, and then last week, if you notice, I got my face all messed up. I fell on a one wheel and bashed my face in. So
I want one of those so bad now.
Yeah, I'm a wreck. So I haven't
it's like
been
a
working
skateboard
on my
with
railroad.
one wheel. Right? It's a
It's
powered
super fun.
skateboard with
one
one
of those
wheel in the middle. I've seen it. I never wanted one until Jason told me that he crashed on one, and I was like, now I want one.
It was super fun. I highly recommend them, even though I was going too fast. It was my own fault. I shouldn't have been going as fast as I was going, and then I lost control. And but it's so fun. I was using my brother-in-law's, and I literally fell on my face, and like all of my limbs, I popped my shoulder out, and but I want one.
So,
but I haven't been working on the railroad during furlough because I'm injured, but it happens.
Do you want to talk about how your job has evolved and what you do now, or do we want to talk about your podcast first? Or I don't know how much you want to talk about sad stuff like furloughs and current state of being a cast member and all that. I know that you work in an organization that is pretty cool.
I do work at a cool organization, but
the Illuminati. Are we going to talk about it? What's going on? Why so secretive?
No, I normally don't talk about work on the internet, but I work for Yellow Shoes, Disney's advertising agency. But that's that. It's a really super fun place to work. But although right now I don't work for anybody.
Yeah.
Does the Ronald McDonald House ever get jealous of Yellow Shoes?
No, they have big red shoes.
Those are red shoes.
Red shoes. Okay. Just
you might be familiar with the Red Shoe Diaries. That was a movie series that they had on Cinemax. late at night. Sorry.
Putting that into Ronald McDonald perspective is a whole different story.
Yeah. You never knew. You learn new stuff. Last week we learned on my show that Kim Jong-un was dead, which might be true and might not. We don't care if it's true. We just want to be first. And now we know that Ronald McDonald was involved with the Red Shoe Diaries. So check out Cinemax, Red Shoe Diaries, old school. I want to talk a little bit about like the reason people might know you is through your voice, because you started your Trapped on Vacation podcast. Why don't you give us a little talk? You have, I think, about 150 episodes. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I was doing them regularly for a few years. Then I had kids, and now I only do maybe 1 or 2 episodes every year, and every year on the 1st of May. So yesterday I dropped an episode. I had to do an episode on 1st of May because of the Jonathan Colton song. I think I was probably the first podcaster to include an F-bomb on their show in the Disney theme park space. Yeah.
If you guys don't know, you could probably find it on YouTube. Jonathan Colton has a song called The 1st of May. It is not for children, but Jason would include it on the 1st of every year. He'd do a podcast on the 1st of May for the last 15 years and include that song. So this year, I think you kind of talked over some of the dirty parts so that children could listen. But
completely family
check it out.
friendly
It's hilarious.
this year and social distancing appropriate.
Yes, because it does involve the content of the song does involve people doing things that are not appropriate social distancing while outdoors. Is that fair to say?
In fact, I did have to edit out one F-bomb from this year's episode, and it was Eric. He said F that guy in the Canada movie.
Eric.
I forget who you're talking about.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, he did a binaural recording when we went to the cast member preview of the 3 new Epcot movies. Apparently, I said F that guy in a. I don't remember who I was referring to, but I'm not surprised that I said it.
I don't know either, but I'm like, wait, so the only F-bomb was you. It was great.
Oh, well, that sounds totally true. How did you start podcasting, and how did this grow? Because at one point you were like, your podcast was really pretty big.
Yeah, it was. Back in 2005, my wife, or actually at the time, she was just my girlfriend. We were living together, and she worked nights, I worked days, and I had nothing to do, so I decided I wanted to start a podcast. And what was a podcast in 2005? It was like 20 people. Like the podcasting community was so small and tight. Like it wasn't just like the Disney podcasters talking to each other. It was everybody was talking to each other. One of the reasons I started it was because there was a podcast with 2 blind people called the Darcy and Holly Show, where Holly podcasted her entire experience going to guide dog school. And then, hold on one second, I got family.
That's okay. We understand.
No big deal.
We're all locked in. That's the theme of this show. Things happen when you're locked in. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that she said on her show was that she wished she could go to Disney World. And so one of the reasons I started Trapped on Vacation was because I got to let her go to Disney World with me. So
with binaural microphone recordings of rides and attractions.
Right. For a visually impaired person, it's
3D sound of going through ride-throughs and stuff.
So I was the first person to actually, Ricky may have been doing, well,
Ricky from the original Inside the Magic. Yeah.
Okay. No, I was the first person to talk myself while going through, because the order of the Disney podcast, if you want to know the history, Jesse from the Mouse Pod started it, and then Ricky Bergani started Inside the Magic, and then Paul Berry started Window to the Magic, and then about 4 days later, I started Trapped on Vacation. So Ricky and Paul did the clean audio. They would just go through and they would be quiet, so you would hear nothing but the attraction, which a lot of people loved. Yeah. And I added my own stuff to it. I rode the attraction like I would ride the attraction, making smart comments and doing stuff like that. So I was the first person to include myself in the in-park audio, if that makes any sense. And some people liked it, some people didn't. I don't care.
They had choices.
It's like there was plenty of stuff for everybody to,
So at some point then, how long were you podcasting before the Disney Podcast Network became a thing?
Okay, so Jeff from Houston from his show started he was from Meandering Mouse. He started submitting me audio, just sending me stuff. He emailed me and said, I went to Disneyland, here's some audio, throw it on your show. So I did, and we ran there until about January, I think, of 2000. Mm-hmm. I started in August 2005, and in January 2006 was when the DPN started, and Jeff started that, and the rest was Then we grew to, we had at our peak, we had like 10 different podcasts in the network, and some of my closest friends in the world, even now, none of them are podcasting anymore except for me, my one or two episodes
twice a year.
But still, those guys are, everybody from the DPN like that I've ever met are my closest friends in the world, like Eric and Lee.
Yeah, we met at Mouse Fest. So a lot of people don't know this. At Mouse Fest, I think I met you in, let's say it was 2009 or so, 2008, something like that. I don't know. When was Mouse Fest? They used to have a big gathering called Mouse Fest, and they would get a convention hall rented, and people would do events throughout the parks. And I met you there. Fast forward several years, when I met Lee, the only friend we had in common on Facebook was you. So that's kind of interesting, like, because she didn't live here, Anyway. So the Disney Podcast Network, for those that don't know, I don't want to say WDWNT has its roots in that. I want to say WDWNT kind of came at the tail end of like the popularity of of all these kind of origin podcast, the Disney podcasts that kind of started it all. And so I think in some respects we owe a debt of gratitude to you guys, because you guys kind of laid the foundation for kind of a Disney fan community, or places for people to go for Disney fan information and websites and things that were not official Disney stuff. So I think that's really great. Now we have grown. Obviously, we have a few podcasts under our umbrella. I don't know if you listen to podcasts or if you're familiar with our network at all. I know, like, we have Ride Rehab, we have Dream Finders, we have the RPG. Is that technically a podcast, Tyler?
We have a Tyler run. Yeah, that is a RPG podcast feed. We're just trying to.
We have a Nerd Alert. There are still some great podcasts out there, though, that are not. I know, like, I really like the Retro Disney World podcast. That's a really good one.
Park Center podcast.
Park Center is technically a podcast, but this is the more your modern podcast, where we tape a modern episode, where we, record a modern live episode, and then we put it as a podcast. The difference is we're not going out in the parks and collecting audio on Park Center and then bringing it in and kind of tying it into, it's more of a discussion podcast. So anyway, I love the Trapped on Vacation podcast. And one thing that's cool about it, you can go to trappedonvacation.com, by the way, to see it. But a lot of this stuff still holds up. You can go back and listen to what attractions were like. I don't know if you have stuff from 15 years ago, but you have you've been around for 15 years, and there's a lot of stuff back there. So
everything's
it
still
might be interesting for people to listen to. Yeah.
I love
so if you go to trappedonvacation.com.
Some vacations never end. You just buy more beer. Yeah, what a tagline.
Yep. Sounds like the Jason I know. Beer is a thing. Beer is a recurring theme on a Trapped on Vacation podcast, and any dealings you have with Jason. But anyway, these were great. What are some maybe things that you were able, did you get any special treatment or any kind of VIP access to anything through the combination of being a Disney Podcast Network podcaster and being a cast member, that maybe some good stories that you have or something like that?
Actually, it's the exact opposite. When I started Trapped on Vacation, Disney didn't have a social media policy, which was why I was completely anonymous for the first 8 months, and then I accidentally called myself Earl because Universal was doing a promotion where if your name was Earl, you got into Universal for free on a Thursdays, because they moved My Name is Earl from like whatever day it was on to Thursdays. So I started my podcast saying, "Hi, my name is Earl, and you're listening to Trapped on Vacation." And people thought my name was Earl because I was just that guy for 6 months. So suddenly I became Earl.
God. Hilarious.
And yeah, Disney didn't have a social media policy until maybe 2009. So anybody posting anything online was just like, I don't know if this would affect my job. And I never was negative. I never, used copyrighted information that wasn't, I'm not a news show anyway. So, but still, before we had a social media policy, nobody liked posting anything on the internet. Everybody was anonymous. So yeah, and that's why my name is Earl, and it's stuck. But yeah, it's all because of
this is probably a good
policy.
time. Probably a good time for me to say that Jason's opinions and remarks do not reflect the Walt Disney Company, and he is not affiliated with WDWNT, who may not be the most popular people when it comes to dealing with people named Bob Chapek or any of the upper Disney management, who probably doesn't think very highly of our organization.
Bob from Burbank.
Bob from Burbank. So yeah, I don't know how familiar you are with some of our content and some of our, especially if you watch WDW News Tonight on Thursday nights. It's not super kind to some people, and I appreciate you as a cast member standing up for your leadership. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to stand up for anybody.
I'm not a huge fan of the second Bob. First Bob, I love to death. I've seen when I worked at Typhoon Lagoon for 2 years. Actually, at Blizzard and Typhoon, I was in the training office, and our first interaction with Bob Iger was amazing. Can I tell this story?
Yeah, of course.
Anyway.
Talk to us about the Iger King.
2 weeks after Bob Iger became CEO, he came to Disney World, as one does when you are CEO, and he was bringing his family into Typhoon. And they were going in the back door with their guest relations tour guide, and a lifeguard stopped them because everybody at the water parks, you go in through the entrance, you don't go through the back door. So the tour, like the lifeguard stopped the tour guide and said, you got to go in the main entrance. And the tour guide was like, "But this is Bob Iger, he's a CEO." And Bob goes, he stopped them and said, "If that's the rules, that's what we'll do." And then he walked around, took his family around, and they walked to the front entrance and went into the front, and it was amazing. That was
that's
like,
cool.
Eisner would have had
Bob
that.
Chapek doesn't know that there are water parks. Yeah. Bob Chapek doesn't know that there are water parks here at Disney World. So that's a great story.
Yeah, parks 5 and 6, right?
I wish that we had those graphics queued up.
Little kids to watch his feet, like at the little shower. He would just wait in line.
I wish we had the graphics queued up. We had two funny graphics of the last 2 Thursday nights. One was the Iger King graphic. Did you make that one, Tyler?
Oh God, yeah, I had to make that.
Yeah, the Iger King, and that one is hilarious. If we can find it, maybe we can slap it up later just so you can see it, Jason. And then this week we had the movie posters. We had Trading Places, which was pretty funny too.
So
which I'll let that one be a surprise if we could find it and dig it up. But Kevin's working VMix. Maybe he could find it. I don't know. I should have anticipated this moment, Kevin. I apologize. But yeah, that's amazing. And your podcast is, like I said, it still holds up. You can go back in time and listen to this from 10 years ago or whatever. And Yeah. It's
Like,
amazing it's still preserved.
It was basically, what did I do this week? It was, what do they call them now? Like the live vloggers where they're on YouTube.
Oh, the vloggers.
And they're just like, this is my life. That was what I did. But before I could make millions of dollars doing it.
I know, like when Runaway Railway opened up, we were standing in line, and we're there the first day, and you could see those fuzzy microphone. I don't know, you know what I mean? You could tell a vlog. You could spot a vlogger from a mile away because they have those the fuzzy microphone. It looks like it's stuffed raccoon, and we're like, God, look at all the vloggers. There's like 100 of them, maybe more, and you know, some of them make money. Some of them want to make money.
Usually,
I don't blame
moms
them.
with kids that don't want to be in the videos.
Yeah. We found out, like, I guess the highest paid YouTube personality, some lady in like Long Island, it opens up toys or
like just boxes,
opens stuff up.
My kids,
like I open stuff up for free every day. Yeah. I remember the last time I saw someone actually filming something at the studios was a couple months ago, and there was some guy that were like, wow, they're actually filming at the studios, which who would have thought? And it was some like Minecraft. No, yeah, I think it was either a Minecraft guy or it was named, I forget his name now. It was like some Minecraft guy that has like millions and millions of followers and makes millions and millions of dollars like playing Minecraft or playing
Minecraft,
something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
Eric, you probably know more about he's young. Eric, you're young and hip. You know all about the Minecrafts and the TikToks and all these things that we do.
I actually don't.
Tyler's young and hip too. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Tyler knows about the Minecrafts and the TikToks. I don't know.
I'm not.
I don't know which one you know.
I'm not an old man.
Yeah, I am. I'm an old. Jason and I are old men.
I still wear Spider-Man.
I got a little
shirt.
gray in my hair. Yeah, Spider-Man shirt. Yeah, you got all the Funko Pops. We've talked about that. By the way, Jason has an impressive amount of cool Disney merchandise. One day that we could. Oh, what do we have here? Is this all cars?
I have over 2,000 cars.
2,000.
A lot of characters.
You need to talk to our leader Tom Corliss. He's a cars guy.
I ran out of space here, and the rest of them are in my office in Celebration. I ran out of IKEA stopped making these shelves, so I ran out of space, and I have another 1,000 on my desk that take it because my desk is a giant
cars?
U.
Do you even have cars from Cars 2?
2 and 3, yeah.
I don't know. We did an episode recently where they ranked Pixar movies, and dead last is Cars 2.
The designs
Cars 2 is
Cars
horrible.
2. Come on.
Yeah.
I used to.
What's that, Eric?
And
the designs of the cars in Cars 2 are still cool.
Yeah, they're cool. Cool designs.
And McMissile is still cool.
Yeah. What were you saying about Cars 2, Jason?
It's the number 4 franchise for money, and that's because of me. I'm buying all the stuff still 15 years later.
Yeah, I know. And you and Tom Corliss are Cars junk. I mean, he's got. If you come to our studio, one day when we can all get together again, come to our studio. He's got some stuff from like Flo's V8 Cafe, and he's got all kinds of cool car stuff in the studio.
Oh, cool.
Hold on 1 second.
Nothing can stop us now.
I forgot to show you when we were talking about the Backlot stuff. I made my
cool.
my own Backlot Tour
Backlot shuttle droid. That's amazing.
This is Shuttle 37, which was the absolute worst shuttle to drive, and because of that, it was my favorite. Like it would never
there weren't
the
actually
right
37 shuttles.
No, they were like 8 different shuttles, but they were all numbered.
That's why when I was in the Marines, but I could never. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the best shuttle to drive was I forget what number it was, but the one that they put through the wall in the queue. Everybody said that was the best shuttle to drive ever, and that was before my time, obviously. But
who drove it through the wall?
They were. Well, nobody drove it through the wall. It was.
I thought maybe it was an accident. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought it was like monorail, one of the monorails, you know. Oh, no, that was sad. No,
yeah,
I was going to say when I was in the military, but being a Marine, it was real simple. They're like, hey, you're the 1st Radio Battalion, you're the 2nd Radio Battalion, whatever. But the Army's like, we're the 589th Logistics Battalion. And you're like, are they really have 589 logistics? No, they have 4 of them. I don't know. I never understood the way the Army named things. So that's like Shuttle 37. I don't know.
Yeah, 37 was the worst and the best at the same time because you actually had to pay attention to. You couldn't go into robot mode. Like you could get into any other shuttle and you could turn off your brain and not think. You could just muscle memory. But 37 would fight you every step of the way. It wouldn't stay on speed. It wouldn't steer right. Like when you went to the teardrop at the end by the Pearl Harbor planes, like when they closed. When you had to go through there, you actually had to lean and pull on the steering wheel, or else you'd be up on the curb and almost in the bungalows. It was fantastic. It was my favorite.
I like to live dangerously.
It was a challenge, but all the other shuttles you could just turn off your brain and do it. You don't even have to pay attention to the other person talking.
We're coming up on the hour, but we usually what we'll do is we take a little bit shorter commercial break than we took in the last hour, and then we're going to come back. We're going to do Disney Deathmatch. Since it's studio themed, do you want to hang out with us? Do you have time to hang out? You can vote, and we're going to do death matches. All right, you guys, everybody in, or Pete? Pete, are you in, or do you have to go for deathmatch?
I could maybe do like the first one.
All right, they don't take too long.
I have like 10.
I know you got it. Yeah. You're an important man. You got important things to do. All right. Before we go to break, I just want to remind everyone about WIGS. That's the WDWNT Interglobe Society. That's our back in 5. Oh, thanks, Pete. That's the that handwriting actually looks like the Party with Pete logo, by the way. Is it? Okay, that makes sense. No. WDWNT Interglobe Society, that's our Patreon organization that supports us financially. You can become a WIGS member for as little as $2 a month. Being a WIGS member gives you access to special events, gives you post-show access, and all kinds of other things like being on the Family Feud or coming to special events that we have. So check it out, WDWNT Interglobe Society. That is patreon.com/WDWNT. Learn more. We'd be happy to have you. Also, there's a super chat in YouTube. You might want to get them teed up for Disney Deathmatch because a lot of people wanted to use them last week. You can do a super chat donation by clicking the $ in the chat window on YouTube. And you can give us a super chat or a sticker. We'll be back in just a minute from commercial. Thanks for joining us. You're watching Locked In, and I'm here with all of my friends.
From
the people who brought you the Disney Parks Home Edition, we now present the 2020 Epcot Flower and Garden Festival, Eric's Apartment Edition. It may be dreary in quarantine for millions of people around the world, but in Eric's apartment, spring is alive. From the comfort of your own home, or from 6 feet or more away if you are deemed an essential employee of the apartment, we will bring you videos of this stuff. And whatever these are. And don't forget these things with the towels. You can even catch a glimpse of our experiments gone wrong. We truly have it all. Plastic plants, dead plants, plants from IKEA, and even plants that have been watered sometimes. And don't forget about our event-exclusive merchandise. Next, spoil yourself before you soil yourself with exclusive food and beverage items from our Bear Cupboard Quarantine selection, like this refreshing vodka with Crystal Light offered at our patio kiosk. Or let your imagination run wild, creating concoctions with Fireball, rum chata, and chocolate liqueur in the office. Our mixologists aren't done blowing your minds yet. Check out our bourbon mixed with ice creations in the master bedroom. And don't forget beer people left behind at our last gathering over at the bookshelf. Outside the guest room, our straight tequila shots will have you wondering if this whole quarantine was just a dream. And of course, be transported far away with wine from all 3 regions of the apartment. Over in the kitchen, our chefs are working on some truly groundbreaking cuisine, like our famous 2-day-old Rotel Dip. Have Have we teased your appetite enough? Then try some of our delicious frozen treats, which include Hot Pockets and ice cream from last Christmas. Finally, get ready to rock out at our Garden Rocks concert series, featuring Butters, whose mom is friends with a woman who used to run a live music venue where ELO once played. You may know her from her hits such as Mr. Pooh Sky and Last Train to Barksville. We have all this and more at the 2020 Epcot Flower and Garden Festival, Eric's Apartment Edition, where the magic is on hold until further notice.
Nearly everyone loves Italian food, but those people who love a true, authentic Italian come to me at a Tony's Town Square Cafe. I, Tony Ragu, have been offering home-cooked food from the province of Toledo here at the Magic Kingdom for almost 30 years. If you're trapped inside in a quarantine, why not take a night off from cooking and order from us? We now offer takeout and delivery options. I never thought working a microwave would be considered an essential business during a global crisis, but what are you gonna do, eh? All of Tony's favorites are available. The chicken parmesan, spaghetti and meatballs, empanadas, the canine crunchies, you name it. Now there's some things you need to know. Postmates is going to tell you that you can order from our theme park location, but you actually got to come to my warehouse on an Orange Blossom Trail. If you go to the Magic Kingdom, the cops, they're going to stop you. It's okay if they do, though. Just drop on my cousin Vinny's name, Vincenzo Ragu, and they're going to let you through. He's a judge up in Westchester. They know who he is. If you choose a pickup, the food is going to be put in your trunk just to make sure you move any baseball bats, cement blocks, bowling bags, so we can lay the food flat. The food is going to be frozen, so don't worry about it getting cold on the way home. So I have what the Uber Eats app is calling Italian food, Tony's Town Square, now available for delivery or pickup. It usually tastes like it's from the road. Now it's made to travel on it. Mangiare!
Welcome back. You're watching Locked In. Oh yeah, get it, Tyler. I like it. That the graphics are courtesy of Tyler, and so is the dancing. He can sing, he can dance, he can do graphics, he can do it all.
Sorry,
we have.
Actually, just like
What's that? The Butters is right here.
Just like
She got into the screen.
It was comical.
Yeah. Here it comes, Butters. I want to tell you guys about a comeback story. Before we go too much further, a comeback story, a fighter, someone who's down and counted out, but finds it in their heart to dig down deep and find the resolve to make something of themselves. During the filming of the fake commercial about the Flower and Garden Festival, Eric's Apartment Edition, we talk about experiments gone wrong. I had written that plant off, but I'm here to show you guys, ladies and gentlemen, that plant has made a miraculous recovery. Look at all those green leaves. Being locked in has given us the opportunity to provide the level of care and care and feeding that this plant has needed all along. The plant is doing really well. This is testament to all of our arborists here at the Eric's Apartment Edition of Flower and Garden Festival. You can see this and much more if you were to tune in, but I just want to recognize this plant and all the arborists that took care of this. This is really remarkable, folks. So anything is possible. I want this just to be something that can inspire people who are maybe down and out. Maybe you're furloughed. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you don't know when your next paycheck is coming. Maybe you're sick. Maybe you're ill. it is possible for you to develop into what you were meant to be. So this plant will be a symbol for that. I appreciate you guys watching the show, but I just want to give you this type of inspiration every now and then. We have a good plant now, and I promise to do better at. Do we water it? I don't know. I think they take water. I've heard that. I don't know. But anyway, good job, plant. Good job. All right, guys. Welcome back to our panel. I know that that Jason, you're new around here, so maybe you don't know what to expect. This is kind of what every Saturday is like. We kind of wing it. There's people that come and go. Nobody knows. We play fake commercials about Tony's. I don't know if you're a big fan of their cuisine.
That was fantastic.
I don't know. Yeah, there's more where that came from. I saw just a discussion. Tyler, were you and Kevin able to get those pieces of art to show Jason? Because I think he'll appreciate this.
Yeah, they're
have
queued
that
up.
loaded. Let's have it queued up. This was a couple of weeks ago. This is the new on Disney Plus from 2 weeks ago. This coming on Disney Plus is a new movie. Do we have it? The Iger King. Oh, yes. Everybody loves the Iger King. Everybody's favorite feature, the Iger King, featuring Bob Iger and Bob Chapek.
That is fantastic.
So
this is the work of Tyler Mann. Of course. I want to hear about it.
So this started out, Disney always does like here's what's new this week on Disney Plus. So we're going to do our own fake ones. The joke being that we can keep coming up with fake movies or TV shows. And then it's my job to decipher what they want. I'm usually just given a title, and then I usually run with it as like what the visual gag would be. This past one we did was Wizard of Bras, which was a parody of Wizard of Oz, but it's the actual bra shop that used to be at Disneyland on Main Street. So with this one, I'm like, what do you want with this? And I was told, put Bob Chapek on a leash. And I'm like, it makes me a bit uncomfortable. And then Tom Corliss was like, these people are like stealing millions of dollars from workers and they are billionaires. Why should it be I'm like, that's fair.
Why should we take it easy?
Just,
that was classic.
It's just weird, but anyways,
it's one of my favorites of all time. And then we have do we have the graphic from the movies that did not make the cut for the Great movie ride?
Those are great.
Well, there's one in particular we're looking for. Did you load that? That was the Trading Places one. I thought maybe you guys had that loaded. Maybe I was wrong. Anyway, I dig. Oh, something's happening.
There's this one.
This week on Disney Plus. I don't know. That wasn't even the one I was thinking of. That's hilarious. That's another good one. We could go. We also, just so you know, Jason, during the show this past week, the monologue was hijacked by a bandit and gangster, and at one point, then they cut to a puppet show that is featuring Bob Chapek, and at the end, a house lands on him, which is
that was so funny.
That's nice.
Anyway,
he should be able to bring it up in a moment.
All right, sorry. I thought those were the two that we had on there, but obviously the two that we had are great. There's another one, the Trading Places thing that Kevin will be able to pull up in just a second. Tyler sent it to him.
There it is.
Trading Places.
Nice.
Gotta love it. Playing in theaters now. Well, nothing's playing in theaters now. But if the theaters were open, they should be playing. Yeah, it's rated. Of course, it's rated R. Of course. You know what they talk about in those boardrooms? Anyway, without further ado, I think it's time for us to start this week's Disney Deathmatch. We have a studios-themed Disney Deathmatch this week. So I have some submissions also that came from some of the viewers, if you have ideas in the future, send them. I know that it happened that some of the viewers and I were on the same wavelength. So at least one of these is something that was submitted by a viewer. But please, Eric M at WDWNT.com. Send me your ideas. We'd love to have them. But we're going to start Disney Deathmatch. We're going to tell you how this works. We have basically been tasked by Bob Chapek that there can be only one, right? We got to cut the budget around these places. So each of these will have maybe 2, maybe 3 things in the matchup. Only one can survive. The other one's getting cut. We will vote. Panelist votes count for 2 points. Viewer votes count for 1 point, and if you make a super chat donation with a vote, your vote will count for however many dollars that super chat donation is worth. Are we ready to kick this off, Kevin? I think we have a new graphic for this too because we're getting pretty high end.
Oh yeah!
Disney Deathmatch!
Disney Deathmatch!
So good!
I love it. Do it again. Do it again. We start this show.
Disney Deathmatch!
I don't even want to do the death matches now. I just want to play that over and over again.
So good.
Isn't it death match? Okay, so the way it's going to work, we're going to present our first matchup. We will then go around the panel and we will discuss that. We will not vote. We will go around and we will discuss the merits of each one. And then we'll go around and we'll vote. Then we'll open the voting to the viewers. After that, we'll give you guys, 30, 45 seconds, a minute. I don't know what's our time frame. What do you guys think? 45 seconds, is that enough time for everyone to vote? I don't even know how many.
Yeah, I think it was 30 seconds. They can start voting once we vote.
Yeah. Now, if you are on, no. They don't vote until, because Tyler has like a distinctive, chat head basically, and he has like the wrench as a moderator, so he will actually say start voting and stop voting. So any vote that is not in between those 2 wrenches does not count, with the exception of
you're gonna do
super chat. Okay. Yeah, Eric, you did it last week. Well, we'll have Eric do it. Tyler's got enough on his plate. Eric, when Eric tells you guys it's okay to vote, we'll do that. Your super chat donations, though, those votes, you can vote all the way to the end. So we can name a winner, and then you can change that outcome up until the end of all of Disney Deathmatch. So because we like money, we let you guys do that. Do we have our first matchup ready? Studios themed Disney Deathmatch.
Oh,
Studios roller coasters. We have.
There could only be one.
There can only be one. Bob Chapek says we have to cut one. You cannot keep them both. There can only be one. Slinky Dog Dash versus the Rock and Roller Coasters. I call it Stinky Dog Dash. I like it. I just think Stinky Dog works. So Slinky Dog Dash versus the Rock and Roller Coaster. Why don't we start with Pete Carney? Pete, do you want to give me your thoughts on how you think this matchup is looking?
Oh man, well, let's go just break down roller coasters in general. I like to look at this a few different ways. One, Rock and Roller Coaster, the only coaster to invert in Walt Disney World. 0 to 60 launch kind of was at the forefront of that launching technology back in the day. Super fun, great pre-show. However, it's kind of an out-of-the-box roller coaster that they just kind of plugged into that building. Could be themed to anything, and it's only a minute long. Like, it kind of is over before it even starts. And there's a long line for that. Do love the interactive queue. And then you have Slinky Dog, kind of one of the worst queues. You're hot, you're in the sun. I mean, the theming is cute, but you could tell it was scaled back. However, a lot more fun once you're on it than what we assumed when we heard about the budget cuts. You can't help but smile. The whole family can go on it, so you don't have to leave the kiddies if you want to go on Rock and Roller Coaster. That second relaunch, I love that second half as well. It's kind of like you get a 2-part ride, and then that really cool Wheezy animatronic at the end. So this is going to be really tough if you're factoring in the total ride.
Don't give your vote yet. Yeah.
And everything else. I'm just saying it's going to be tough.
Yep. How about you, Jason? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I am on the fence here because I forgot one place Well, yeah, Toy Story Land is because Backlot. I used to work there. I also worked at Rock and Roller Coaster too. I forgot to mention my year in FastPass, back when there was a global FastPass team, I worked every FastPass attraction at the studios until 9/11 happened and you didn't need FastPass for 8 months. So I worked there too. So I worked at Tower and Coaster, and I'm also I am the world's biggest Slinky Dog fan, enough that I even have a Slinky Dog right above you. If you look up.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I see it.
But that second launch, I disagree that the second launch is great because it could be faster. You barely make it over that second hill. Like if you're going and then you get to the top and you're like, I think I can, and then you expect to almost roll backwards. But it is also the great cold beast of Batu. So that's cool too.
Yeah.
Because it's the only thing you can see from Galaxy's Edge outside of the area. So
yeah,
if you're standing up on the stairs where you can see it, they call it the Great Coiled Beast.
The Great Coiled Beast of Batu.
Yeah, they're kind of scared because it makes people scream. So.
You guys know I love Toy Story.
Oh, you're a Toy Story guy.
It's one of those things. And I typically go for, family friendly. And I think that Slinky Dog Dash is more family friendly than obviously Rock and Roller Coaster. Everyone can pretty much ride this ride. Rock and Roller Coaster, though, like Pete said, first inverted coaster. Just the music and everything is just really, really well done, I think, and the theme really, really fits. So this is a hard one, honestly.
Yeah. What about you, Tyler Mann? Let's hear from you.
Oh, well, everyone knows that I really like a good story, and the excuse of Toy Story Land does absolutely nothing for me. And I am certainly the kind of person who's like walk into a covered queue, first of all, pre-show, moving into another room, and then getting on the ride, and then the experience continues after the ride is done in some kind of way. So it's very, very easy for me to explain which one I definitely like more. I like Rockin' just. It sounds ridiculous, but it has an interesting idea and a story to it. And yeah, it could just be anything. It could be rethemed to anything, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's good that it can be completely modified to be something else instead of a big old dog.
Yeah. These are all good points.
Or that sentence, I guess. But I'd have more to that.
I guess if I were to say anything, I like that Rock and Roller Coaster is an indoor roller coaster. That's innovative, but it's kind of like a Six Flags roller coaster indoors. Like, it's not a great on its own. It's not a spectacular roller coaster. It's got a lot of day glow paint. It's got cool music. It's got a cool launch. The pre-show is really awful, but kind of cool. Like, in a way, they're like, I kind of wish they would redo this, but also I kind of want them to keep this. Like, make it a stretch. No, it's a super stretch. It looks bad, Come on, you know how we feel about our fans. That's always great. Slinky Dog, no shade. I mean, there's kind of some shade now. Very long wait, but the ride itself, I think, is cool. I think it's well themed. It's more Disney than Aerosmith, right? So it's a tough choice. I don't know how we're going to do, but let's start the voting with Pete Carney.
This is tough. I was doing some last minute research here because I really want to make I take these very seriously. I'm gonna go with Slinky Dog Dash only because as much as I love the pre-show, like the interactive queue with your name in the one night only. I love when you walk into that back alley. The coaster is too short for me, and it lacks. They could have done so much more inside of that show building, besides just some black light, some neon signs that, and not even neon, the fake neon. with just like kind of like turning on a spotlight and turning it off onto a black light sign. So for that reason, I think, and the fact that you can't take the entire family on it, I feel like you can more people can experience Slinky Dog. Like when I took my mother down and her friends this year, like only my mom, I think, and one friend went on that, but like the whole group of 6 or 8 went on Slinky Dog. So for the theming around Slinky as well as cute, the family experience, and I just think it's a fun coaster. You can't help but smile. I'm gonna. It's super close. It's like a 51-49 going to Slinky Dog.
Yeah. All right, Eric Wolf.
So yeah, I'm my points are going to Slinky Dog Dash. I'm all about inclusion, and I think that more, like I said, and Pete just said, more people are able to ride this ride, and I enjoy that. And yeah, that's actually that's really my biggest reasoning for choosing it.
Tyler,
it's, you know.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Thank you, Eric. All right, Tyler, let's hear it. We think we know where you're going, but go ahead and give your vote.
Is very easy. Everyone else is saying, you know, like, this is the family coaster. This is the one that more people can ride. But I'm doing it based on personal preference. So which one would I ride again and want to ride again and be more inclined to? I'm definitely more about the enveloping experience from when I walk into the building and I'm in G-Force Records and there's a weird but fun pre-show. And look at like the bottom part of Slinky. There's all this ugly black mechanical stuff with the tires. Meanwhile, we got this cool sleek car on the other side. So yeah,
it's a super stretch.
Yeah, it's a super stretch limo, the longest limo they could find. I'm going with Rock and Roller Coaster as my pick.
All right, I'm going to vote next. This is really hard for me. I used to really love roller coasters and the thrill, the inverted and all that stuff. I just want to take a second to say shame on Disney for not making a better like queue and pre-show for Slinky Dog Dash, because I think it probably deserves it. If you're going to be an e-ticket, which kind of is now, have a better pre-show, have a better queue, have all these things that you kind of skimped on. Excuse me. At the same time, the one thing I like about Slinky Dog Dash is we go on it, I hear people laughing and having a good time, and it is a little more accessible. You don't have the intensity of going upside down, all these things. I think as a ride, it's a little more fun than a Rock and Roller Coaster, so I'm going to go with Slinky. And Jason?
I am going to go with, as a cast member who can't book fast passes 6 months in advance,
no one
I'm going to go with Rock.
Months in 60 days.
Well, whatever. I have.
Can you imagine?
Jeez.
Well, 90 days. Well, yeah. I decide at 9 a.m. I'm going to go to the parks, and when I go, Rock and Roller Coaster has a single rider line, so I'm going to go with Coaster based solely on the single rider line because I can actually ride it. I think I've ridden Slinky Dog maybe 3 times or 4 times in the 2 years it's been open, because the wait is so incredibly long. I can't get a fast pass as a local if I'm just waking up in the morning and going. So I don't have to plan for a single rider line. Although my kids love Slinky Dog, so they probably would be disappointed in me.
They also have the best warning ever of Por favor, manténganse de la puerta.
Manténganse sus niños.
I love it so much.
Welcome to Slinky Dog Dash.
So here's where we stand on our first matchup. We have Slinky Dog out to a 6-4 lead. Anything can happen. In just a few moments, Eric Wolf is going to open the voting to the viewers. You'll see his blue wrench as a moderator in the chat. We'll open that up for 30 to 45 seconds. You know, we'll let it go for a little while. If you want to make a super chat vote, you're welcome to do that. Your vote, you'll get 1 point for each dollar of your super chat donation. Eric, go ahead and let us know when it's clear to vote.
Let's do it. You guys can vote.
Can I just ask though, what would be the pre-show to Slinky Dog? Like, what would it even be? Because the logic of it now is Andy decided for whatever reason to I'm so bitter about this. To put his Slinky Dog on the roller coaster track, and it just worked. So would the pre-show be like, oh my god, what was that ride at Busch Gardens where you got shrunk down in Ireland?
Imagine
Corkscrew
like,
Hill?
remember, like Seven Door Mine Train, like you're spinning the barrels, it's interactive and stuff like that. You could easily be building your own coaster, playing with coaster parts.
All kinds of stuff we won't be able to do once the parks open back up.
Yeah, stuff like magnets, rearranging the track. It would be so much fun to like make your own.
I'm not an Imagineer, right? So Tyler thinks of these things. How would he do it if he were an Imagineer? So I understand that. That's the way you think. I'm not an Imagineer. I want them to wow me. Come up with something. Make a good story for Slinky Dog Dash, and give me it doesn't have to be an elaborate pre-show, but give me something other than, hey, now you have skin cancer. Yeah, it's just.
I was picturing if they did a pre-show for this, that it would be like you go into a room and it's a big like cardboard box, and then all of a sudden just there's like a hole in it looking outside, and then Andy does this. Oh, hi toys! I'm gonna put you on a roller coaster now. Like, because you're supposed to be tiny. That's what I picture a pre-show
like,
being.
Hi toys.
Oh,
how about
attractive,
this?
cute
voting.
Go ahead and end it. I would like it though. Hi toys. I hope you're enjoying that air conditioning. Anyway, so voting has ended. Our first death match. The results are in. Are we compiling? Who can count these? Let's see. My monitor's too far away from me. How close are we?
The hand witch is not on this. By the way,
somebody voted for Fire Mountain. Okay, guys, and also please only vote once. That was in our March Madness, by the way. I do miss Fire Mountain already.
Slinky.
This is like when people didn't know what to put for the Family Feud.
Rock, Slink.
That's my favorite game. Rock, Slink.
Rock, Slink.
Wait, what were our votes? We were 3-2 towards Slinky, right?
Yeah, we were 6-4 Slinky.
All right, so.
Yeah, Slinky had 6, Rockin' had 4.
Wow, it comes by
because
one
our
vote.
votes are more important.
I have Rock and Roller Coaster with 11 and Slinky 10.
Yay!
So for the time being, Rock and Roller Coaster edges out Slinky Dog Dash. You can still flip that vote with a super chat donation. If you don't want to do that, then I guess we'll see what happens. I want to see that music again. Can we play the intro graphic again? Yeah. All right.
I love it.
Kevin, please show the viewers our next death match. Attractions greater than 2.5D in the studios.
Oh.
And actually, if you watched WDW News Tonight, this was actually a category where they had all the attractions you had to wear 3D glasses for. Muppet Vision 3D, Star Tours, and Toy Story Mania. There can only be one. We must satisfy Bob Chapek by cutting 2 of these attractions. There can only be one left standing at the end. This is going to be tough. This is going to sting a little bit. This might cause some families to break up. I don't know. Anyway, Muppet Vision 3D versus Star Tours versus Toy Story Mania. You got to pick your favorite. What are we thinking, panel? I want to start by going to Mr. Pete Carney. Pete, give us your analysis. Oh, Pete is gone. Pete had to go. I'm sorry. I didn't even hear him leave. We knew.
I'll see you later.
We knew Pete was leaving. Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
It's cool. I can still hear you.
I was gonna say, I'll give an early vote. This is gonna be a lot of fun, and I think there's a clear winner here, though. Toy Story Mania is the bomb diggity.
Okay.
So I'll let you guys talk about it. I have to run. I'm a little late, but love you all. Great being on the show, and yeah, have a good one, everybody. Nice meeting you, Jay, as well.
Hey, thanks.
All right, so we have already a vote from Pete. 2 points go to Toy Story Mania. I'm going to make an exception. I don't think generally I would accept a vote before we've had our panel discussion, because potentially one of us could sway Pete somehow, but it seems like he's pretty steadfast in his position there. Let's start with Tyler Mann. What do you think on this matchup? What are your initial thoughts?
I am genuinely torn on this. Okay, so clarify this. This is the better 3 or 4D attraction, right? Like, which one is better?
No, this is only one can stay, and you're in charge of voting for which one stays. The other two are getting cut. It's not.
It costs too much to keep all these glasses.
The topic, what am I comparing them again? Like, they're all like, obviously, which one is like, if you were to be like, oh, which one's the better theater show? Well, obviously, like Muppet Vision, but like this is attractions that are 3 or 4D oriented. So
greater. The judges want greater than 2.5D because now we have a 2.5D attraction called Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So we specified greater than 2.5D. Anything you put on glasses for, basically, in the parks. These 3 attractions, and you can only keep one.
What a crummy marketing move to label Mickey and Minnie's as, oh, it's 2.5D. No, none of that. That was something you said to get people excited, and it was a lie. Okay, Toy Story Mania is no better than a video game that I can play on my Wii, which is a true fact because they took everything from the actual ride and they put it into a video game that had horrible menu design.
Wait, is it 3D in a video game?
It came with 3D glasses.
It came with 3D glasses.
Wait, is Toy Story Mania?
And it even came with the shooter.
Is it 3D or is it 4D? Don't they like shoot some puffs of air at you or something? Yeah, I don't know if that counts as a 4th D. Anyway, continue.
It's not something I would go out of my way to ride, and they haven't changed it enough that it beats out Star Tours for the idea of like you can ride Star Tours multiple times and it's always different. Muppet Vision is a 15-minute pre-show, which is amazing and funny and entertaining to watch, genuinely, plus the 15-minute actual movie you watch, depending on when you arrive to go watch. Yeah. Obviously, their pre-show, they put just as much thought into it as they did with the actual film itself. They wanted people to be entertained for the entirety of that pre-show. Star Tours is a ride. It does have good 3D effects, but they're not there as often as Muppet Vision, where stuff's like popping out at you and they play with the logic of like the theater and actual physical effects. Oh God, this is really tough actually, because I like the rewritability of Star Tours, but Muppet Vision is a more finely crafted film.
Right, you know what you're getting when you watch Muppet Vision the second time. You don't know what you're getting the next time you ride Star Tours. They do shuffle it up.
I mean, I like that aspect of it. I like being able to go on a ride and not knowing where I'm going to go visit.
Yeah.
But
Jason, what's your analysis like here?
If we're going solely on the rules and from a budget standpoint, since Muppets and Toy Story use the same glasses, it would make financial sense to drop both of those and keep Star Tours, just because if you're gonna, I mean, if that's what the rules are. Although I would totally stick with Muppets. Star Tours doesn't fit in where it
no.
is.
You're not being tasked with deciding which one saves the most money. You're just trying to save one. It doesn't. The budget decisions are made by the bean counters in Burbank somewhere or wherever. All you want is the attraction that you want to save. You don't have to. You're not on the hook for the money saved or money lost or which one makes the most sense from a business standpoint. You just have to pick one to save.
Well, I'm going with Muppets. Star Tours doesn't make sense outside of Galaxy's Edge.
Look, it's not time to vote yet.
So Galaxy's Edge. I know.
It's not time to vote yet, so we're not going to count your vote yet.
That's where I would lean.
Yeah. Eric Wolf, I know how you're going. I know what this is. I can see this coming from a mile away.
Can you though?
No, maybe I can't. I know that you love. I know that you love Pixar, and I know that you love the Muppets. This is. I know you're not going to go Star Tours. I know you're not going Star Tours. You're going. Well, we'll see. forget. Don't even discuss Star Tours because we know it won't be part of your vote. Let me go.
Yeah.
Let me hear with your passion for the Muppets versus your passion for Pixar and Toy Story in particular.
It's crazy because, like Tyler said, like the 15-minute pre-show for Muppets itself is just pure magic, pure Muppets. Just the writing, how they shot it, just everything. And I also think that even the room that you are in for that pre-show, if you look around, you see all of their boxes.
There's so much.
They're addressed to the different Muppets. They've even added Muppets. As much as Walter's not in anything for Muppets, he has a box there as well. So I love Muppet Vision 3D, and it's one of the last things that that Jim personally worked on. So I do have that sense as well. Toy Story Mania, I just on the flip side of what Tyler said, I really like the fact that it's just a video game kind of thing, because I feel like it fits in Toy Story land. And I think it was a fun way to be able to play with those toys. And Star Tours gets me dizzy, and I don't really care. So that's that.
Yeah, those are all fair. I'm just going to say I love all of these. One concern I have is Star Tours location, because it's like non-contiguous to Galaxy's Edge. One way to keep Star Tours, if we bulldozed Muppet Vision 3D, which I love, and of course Pizza Rizzo, then you could have a contiguous kind of Star Wars universe there. So that is one plus for keeping Star Tours, I think. Muppet Vision, I mean, it's the Muppets. Who doesn't love the Muppets? It's so well done. It's so smart and witty and cute. It's really hard to come up with anything negative about Muppet Vision 3D. And then Toy Story Mania, I love it. I like being able to compete with whoever I'm riding with. I like the games. It's a lot of fun. The queue is really well done. The queue is more like maybe what Slinky Dog Dash could be, where you're indoors, it's air conditioned, there's stuff from Andy's room in there. You have all that kind of stuff. That would have been nice for them to do for Slinky Dog Dash, but it's going to be a tough choice for me. I still don't know where I'm going with this. We do have to kick off voting. We know that Pete Carney has already chosen Toy Story Mania to award his 2 points to. Viewer votes will count for 1 point. Super chat donations will count for however many dollars super chat is, blah, 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 blah. And I want to kick off voting. I'm going to go to Jason first. Jason, what do you think?
I'm going to have to, okay. For me, it's smack between Star Tours and Muppet Vision. And I'm going to have to go with Muppets just because Star Tours, if it was transportation to Batu, would be perfect where it's at. And then you ride Star Tours, you get off, and that would work. It would be a crowd control nightmare, but it would be fantastic. But I'm going to go with Muppets.
2 points for the Muppets from Jason. All right, we go to you, Tyler. Man, what do you think?
I agree with everything he just said. And I do want to clarify, the queue for Star Tours is fun in its own way.
Yeah.
If I'm keeping an experience that I want, it's as much as I'm an attraction more than a show person, I have to go with Muppets. It just has too much heart and love put into it. And Star Tours, we have enough Star Wars around the world at the moment. This is the only place Muppet Vision really exists. So Muppet Vision 3D.
2 more points from Muppet Vision 3D, giving him a 4-2 lead. 2 points from Tyler Mann, 2 points from Jason Stephen, and 2 points to Toy Story Mania from Pete Carney. Now we go to you, Eric Wolf. It's time to stake your claim. Who are you picking?
All right, so I'm not going with Star Tours. Besides the fact that it gets me dizzy and I don't really care. I hate the placement of it. I think it's just odd where it's at. So I would like to get rid of that. Mania, as much as I like it, I feel like there could be, especially because of the size of that building, they could do so much more with it.
Yeah.
Anywhere else. So I'm going Muppets.
Wow, that is now 6-2 for the Muppets. This is tough for me. Part of it is because I wouldn't want to be responsible for eradicating the Muppets from the studios, which is essentially what would happen, right? There would be no more Muppet attraction at Disney. I guess you could still have technically Pizza Rizzo. You could have the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. Pizza Rizzo is terrible. People have very bad thoughts about the Muppets if this were the case.
Yeah.
I also default to not wanting a simulator, a moving simulator. So the Body Wars, the whatever that you have with Star Tours. Okay, I get it. It's cool. I like Star Tours. It's a different experience each time. Toy Story Mania is the most interactive of them. So I don't want to get rid of the Muppets. I want to bring them back in some capacity, but we got to make space. I'm going to go with Toy Story Mania for my 2 points. So now the score is Muppets 6, Toy Story Mania 4. Star Tours has 0 right now. I think because we all think there's plenty of Star Wars stuff and Star Wars isn't going away. We're going to open this up to viewer voting. Again, your vote, don't vote until Eric Wolf prompts everyone in the YouTube chat. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, whatever the kids are doing. Our voting is only going on YouTube. We're going to start the voting in a second. Your vote counts for 1 point, and a super chat counts for however many dollars you pledge. Go ahead, Eric, kick it off.
Let's do it.
All right, so voting has begun. We'll leave this open for a little while, but I keep touching my face. If you don't know, Jason, you're new here. If I touch my face, if you touch your face, if anybody touches their face, we take a drink. So I take a drink. It's supposed to be punishment. People are not supposed to touch their face. I do have to crack open something. So, we'll do that.
I've been blowing my nose the past few hours because the heating in my building was turned off, and I was so cold this morning, and like a slight temperature change is enough to affect my.
Is it cold in Toronto right now?
It's a little bit chilly, but just at nighttime in Earl, it gets pretty cold.
All right. We didn't get a whole lot of votes last time. If you haven't voted, you need to do it in the next 10 seconds or so. Eric Wolf will post to end the voting. As we said, any of the voting that ends can be superseded by a super chat if you want to do so. If not, we get it. Everybody spent all their money on super chats Thursday night, I think. Although I don't know if we even came close to the Jason, you need to go back 2 weeks, the roast. If you go to our YouTube channel, the roast of Tom Corliss. Unprecedented amounts of super chats. Unprecedented. I think it was like $600. Tons of viewers. It was really hilarious watching everyone make fun of Tom.
Nice.
Go ahead and wrap up the voting. I'll be right back. I'm just going to grab something.
All right, let's do it.
Cat real estates. I need to do a video about whatchamacallit? What's the word I'm looking for? Not in fairness, about how motion simulators get a bad rap. Because back in the day, like Star Tours, all of that was practical effects. It was all built physically, and they shot it with an actual camera. Like, that was amazing. And I've been on so many motion simulators that were all practical effects, and they're so cool. Like,
they were
I need
amazing.
to do like a retrospective about them.
Somebody mentioned in the chat that Body Wars was nauseating, and it was actually off sync on purpose. So they almost wanted people to get sick. That fluid motion, like it didn't match up. Like the screen would go one way, you go the other way, because they wanted it to feel like you were actually getting pushed through. So it was off on purpose. I love motion simulators, but I always got sick on Body Wars every single time.
I want to teach everyone.
Great.
I've heard that before, but thanks for like the way you present it. Actually makes more sense. I want to also give advice, a piece of advice to you guys out there, or girls. You want to impress someone you're with. You're at the parks with somebody who maybe you have a little bit of interest in. You talk to the cast member and make sure that the person you're with can be the rebel spy on Star Tours. I'm telling you, makes their hearts melt. Then they're gonna want that "I am the rebel spy" T-shirt on the way out. Never fails. All right, so we stopped
How
the
did
voting.
You get Butters on the ride.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah, no. Lee wanted to be. Lee was like, I've never been the rebel spy before, and the first time she wrote it, she's like, I've written this 25 times, never been a rebel spy. Made a rebel spy. Look where I am now. All right, so we were 6 for the Muppets and 4 for Toy Story Mania. How are the votes? Are we done tabulating the votes, Eric?
I am. So we got from the chat, we got 10 for Muppets, we got 3 for Star Tours, and we got 2 for Toy Story Mania.
So it's clearly Muppets.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Muppets, the clear winner. I'm sorry if you like Star Tours. If you like Toy Story Mania, they are now gone. Bob Chapek is going to put a shop in there or something he can monetize. I don't know what's going.
Chapek's going to replace.
Maybe he'll put a
Toy Story
Sonic
Mania
drive in.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Yeah, who wants to be a millionaire?
Oh my gosh, can I say, if you guys are really into Muppets, because clearly people are, prop culture, the last episode is the Muppet movie. Such a good episode of that show.
Oh, is that
Such
already?
a good
I gotta watch it.
Yeah, all of them came out yesterday. Talk about Mary Poppins, Pirates of the Caribbean, Nightmare Before Christmas, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, they got an interview with someone, which I was just like, yes, please. And
Do they talk about
yes, they do.
Oh my gosh! I'm watching that as soon as we're done this now.
Eric, just for the sake of administrative purposes, what was our total again for there were 10 audience votes for the Muppets. There were how many for Toy Story Mania?
10 audience,
so that's 16. Okay, so that brings it to 6. And Star Tours, how many do we have?
Had 3.
Okay, so 16 to 6 to 3. Muppet Vision 3D beats out Toy Story Mania, which beats out Star Tours. You can still change that if you want to, but we're going to move on to the next matchup. But I want to hear the music again. Can we hit us with that graphic? I love it.
Disney Deathmatch!
Yeah, Disney Deathmatch. All right,
let's recorded that audio like right before the show started.
Yeah, Tyler recorded that like while we were on the air.
Like 11:02.
Yeah, 11:02. That's why we were late. I'm sorry, we started at like 11:03 today because Tyler had to record that.
Hey.
That's not on Tyler. That's on me. He sent the graphic. I was like, graphic's great. Kevin's like, does the graphic have audio? We're like, why does it need it? The graphic is awesome. And he was like, yeah, I can just scream Disney Deathmatch. Like, okay, do it. All right. So that does it for our attractions greater than 2.5D, unless somebody wants to change it with the super chat. And we move on. What's the next matchup, Kevin?
Oh, yeah. What?
Trash attractions. We have the Voyage of the Little Mermaid versus the trash can outside Backlot Tour.
Sorry. I don't know how that got in. Yeah. Sorry. That wasn't.
Okay.
Wait, that wasn't real?
What? All right. Kitschy 50s restaurants. We have the Sci-Fi Dine-In versus the 50s Primetime Cafe. And I want to let you guys know, because I'm a little bit of a dictator here, I wanted to make these matchups equal because the Primetime actually has a bar attached to it. And the Sci-Fi has a bar attached to it, but it's not part of the Sci-Fi. So we are going to say, if you get rid of the Sci-Fi, you also get rid of the Baseline Tap House. If you get rid of the 50s Primetime Cafe, you also get rid of the Tune-In Lounge. That's to make it more difficult, make it a closer matchup. So I'm sorry if that offends people or hurts people or makes them mad, but we have to make these matchups somewhat fair. And the Primetime Cafe having a full-service bar and the Sci-Fi not, that didn't make this a good matchup. So now it's a better matchup. We have the Kitschy 50s restaurants, 50s Primetime, and the Sci-Fi Dine-In. So what are our thoughts so far, panel? I'm going to start with Eric Wolf.
So I actually haven't gone to Primetime. I've been at the bar, but I haven't actually eaten at the restaurant. So I have no idea what to do with that.
But we're just going with our gut. Do you think Bob Chapek's been in any of these places? The answer is no.
I don't want to be like Chapek.
Yeah.
But I do really enjoy the fact that you get to sit in the cars and you get to see those like old movies. I do enjoy that a lot. So yeah, this is cool. And the 50s theme, which I really enjoy. So this one's kind of hard. Yeah. I like this matchup.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup. I have to say that I definitely go to the bars more than I go to the restaurants for these places. I'll just say that. I have fond memories of dining in both. Tyler Mann, what do you think? Initial analysis.
I have been to 50s multiple times, but I have never been to sci-fi. I'm a huge thing person, so at first I want to just be like sci-fi should stay just for the experience and the design of it. But I oh gosh, like I gotta be a bit honest. When I actually really enjoy the experience I have at 50s primetime, because not of the theming, but the servers are so funny. They really do make that experience of eating. I mean, in general,
that's the closest thing we have to like a cast member like playing a role at the studios now, other than like when you go into Galaxy's Edge, they are role playing, and you go onto like Rise of the Resistance and you have the First Order people. Hey. Other than that, like
we have the citizens.
Yeah. Okay. But that's different, right? Those are actual like characters.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tyler, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. There's a rocket pack in sci-fi hanging above one of the restaurant is sort of like a filming stage, and so if you're in like the backstage portion, there is the Rocketeer rocket pack hanging up there, which is fun.
That's cool.
Fun reference.
That came
Who
from
doesn't
the
like the
Warehouse
Rocketeer?
and the Backlot Tour. I've
that was on the Backlot Tour.
No, I didn't. I did not climb up into the rafters to put that on. No, I did not do that. But, I totally did.
All right, Jason, I want to hear your analysis on this matchup. I know you've probably been to both of these.
I have. I think that sci-fi has better food, but if the service is slow, you're going to watch that film 3 or 4 times. Because that movie isn't that long. It's only like a 20-minute loop, so it just keeps on going. Whereas the experience at primetime, while the food isn't quite as good in my opinion, the experience is different every single time. I've never had bad service there, and it's just usually hilarious. I would lean. I'm still split.
Don't give your vote yet. We just want your analysis.
Also awkward. Yeah. I know. It's the seating arrangement is awkward because you can't have a conversation at sci-fi.
Yeah.
So it's I'm on the fence right now. We'll have to see.
Yeah. I would say I love both of these places, and I love the Baseline Tap House. Good beer. They actually had like good like holiday treats. And I go to the Tune In Lounge literally every time I'm at the studios. So I love both these places. Tune In Lounge, full bar, Baseline Tap House, not a full bar, but great bar. So it's a little difficult for me to think about this. I also will say that at Sci-Fi, I had the most overpriced breakfast of my life. They had remember they had the Star Wars breakfast at the Sci-Fi. It was like, I don't know, $50 or $60 a person, and it was just like the most phone it in breakfast. They're like, hey, I got a little cool like fruit cup with Yoda on it, but it was really overpriced. But you got to take your picture of Boba Fett and Darth Vader, so that was cool. But it was it was overpriced. Anyway, it's a tough matchup. I'm going to kick off voting now with the panel. Let's start with Jason.
I'm going to have to lean towards primetime just because of Tune In.
Yep. Primetime Cafe, 2 points on the board. Jason with the vote. Let's go to Tyler.
I did have a really good, fun experience last time at primetime. As much as I haven't been to Sci-Fi, I think my vote, just for the overall experience of getting like interaction, more of like an attraction type thing, would have to be for primetime. So I vote for primetime.
Tyler, 2 more points for primetime. That is 4-0 primetime. Eric Wolf, what do you think?
Yeah, so just with everything that I know about primetime, it seems like a better experience. I agree. Once you go into sci-fi, the seating arrangement's just weird because everyone's facing forward because you're trying to see that movie, but you can't like interact with a party that you just came into to experience the whole thing with. So it's very awkward. So I'm going primetime for sure.
Wow.
Eric Wolf, primetime, 6-0 lead. That's a lot of pressure on me. I really love both these places. I don't want to lose the Tune-In Lounge, but I don't want to lose the Sci-Fi, and I don't want to lose the Baseline Tap House. It's really tough. I love sitting. I love that's where else in the world do you go to a restaurant and you sit in like a fake car looking at a giant drive-in movie screen? No, I like that. Yeah. I like their food is very good, and I like the Baseline Tap House. Like I said, I literally go to the Tune-In Lounge every time I'm in the studios. Lee loves the chocolate martini, but I'm going to go with the Sci-Fi. So put 2 points on the Sci-Fi for Sci-Fi under me.
All right.
That makes it a 6-2 lead. Let's go ahead and open it up to voting. Eric, go ahead and do your thing. Work your magic, Mr. Wolf.
I have to say that the bleeping wife does not like this game at all.
No, we're getting rid of stuff. Nobody likes to get rid of stuff. Well, there's one person that likes to get rid of stuff. There's one person that likes to get rid of stuff, and he's a bald man with a sweaty brow. We don't have that graphic loaded, but there's a Jason. You'll see on our Thursday night show. There's a
she doesn't think we should close. It says bars are exempt. We shouldn't have to close Tune-In or Baseline just because we closed the restaurants attached to them.
What the thing is, though, I couldn't have made it just about the restaurants because the Tune-In Lounge is an integral part of the experience at the prime time. Yep. So I basically had to give the Baseline Tap House to the Sci-Fi. I'm sorry. You may not like the rules. This came out from corporate. This wasn't really me. This is from Bob Chapek. Direct your hate towards
corporate, not him.
Yeah. So we have a great graphic. We have a great graphic that Tyler made, Jason, that you'll on News Tonight on Thursday night you'll see, which is basically Bob Chapek with sweat dripping down his brow. He's like, how do I save the parks when there's nothing left to cut? Tyler, did you do the sweaty? There we go. There's Bob Chapek. How are things going, Bob? How are things going with it? Ever since you became CEO, how are things going? Oh, CEO in name only. It's a little bit sweaty in that seat.
This is another thing where I feel like a little of how I
was that, Jason?
Because of COVID and the parks closing, I think he's going to get a pass now. That's
we'll see. I don't know. He's already been like relegated to like
for everything.
CEO and. Well, I don't know that it's fair to give him blame for everything. My position has always been, as a shareholder, I love Bob Chapek. As a Disney fan, I hate Bob Chapek. So you got to walk that line, right? He delivered. He brings some to bacon.
But
yeah, he brings some to bacon. But I don't know if it's fair to judge him based on the returns the company gets when he was basically tossed the company in the middle of a crisis. I don't know.
Right. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but he does have a sweaty brow, that man. I'll tell you what. How are things going, Bob? It's sweaty here. How are we doing, Eric?
You want to close it up?
Yeah, close up the votes. I'm sorry.
No, you good?
Votes are closed unless you want to make a donation because money talks. And so far, actually, we've raised $0 today.
This one's very easy. We have 13 votes for Sci-Fi, 3 votes for 50.
Wait.
So it comes down to 15 with. So audience vote, only audience. Mm-hmm. We got 13 votes for Sci-Fi.
Okay.
And then only audience votes, we got 3 votes for 50s.
So 15-9, the Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi wins 15-9. They disagree with the people have spoken. They disagree with our panel. The people want the Sci-Fi. The people want the 50-foot woman. Who doesn't, right? So this conclude. Oh, wait. Does this conclude it, or do we have a surprise entry this week in the Disney Deathmatch? Play the graphics. Yeah, Disney Deathmatch. There's always a surprise. So now we have a new thing. You can save something. We get an extra life. You can bring something back, but you can only bring back one. You can bring back the Great Movie Ride. You can bring back the Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights, or you can bring back the Backlot Tour, but you can only bring back one. We're always good for one surprise, folks. This will be a heated debate. Great Movie Ride versus the Osborne Lights versus the Backlot Tour. There can be only one brought back. For the sake of this discussion, we are going to assume that bringing back the Backlot Tour does not mean you have to bulldoze Galaxy's Edge. Let's say we acquired some other real estate nearby. Same thing for the Spectacle of Dancing Lights, and same thing for Great Movie Ride. Maybe they put it in another building. You can keep Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I don't really care. But we are not eliminating anything by bringing one of these back. That is the key consideration that our panelists must take into consideration. So this is gonna be a heated battle. I know this show ends at 2. We're already past 2, but we always go over it. Think of it as a WIGS post show that you don't pay for. All right. So wow, surprise matchup. Everybody is shocked. People are rolling around on the floor, their jaws agape. This is what an opportunity to bring back one of your favorite studios attractions. Are the viewers pumped about this? I
have a question.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
So
wait, the YouTube chat immediately. Eric, why are you doing this to us? Sorry, I'm a complicated man.
Are we bringing these back in a new light? So like if we bring back, like, let's say the Great Movie Ride, are we bringing them back with new animatronics and like stuff like that? Or
it's gonna be it's basically the thing on the day that it closed. So the you can't add you can't add Full Metal Jacket and Tangled to the Great Movie Ride, right? You gotta no. It's the Great Movie Ride the way you know it.
Like improve on the animatronics, same exact sets, same exact scenes, just animatronics better. Like, are we improving anything?
We got a guy with a can of oil and like a screwdriver can make things the animatronics can be a little bit smoother, but basically it's going to be the attractions the way that you remember them. But you can't bulldoze another attraction. We have additional real estate available
on
for
life
these.
Support, like at the end.
No. Exactly. This is the Backlot Tour.
This is Backlot Nolan topless, which is another story I didn't talk about.
Right. This is the Backlot Tour in its prime. You can bring it back where you get off, and then you walk through the rest of the tour. You can get blown up, and it doesn't have to be Pearl Harbor. It could be Harbor Attack, Gilligan. Yeah, I don't know. They had the water.
Spectacle of Lights on Residential Street with the Backlot Tour. So Golden Girls House.
Yes.
With Spectacle of Light. I'm gonna combine them.
No.
See?
You can do
right there.
You can do what you want to influence your vote. I would say in my
Spectacle of Lights
imagination,
was still good in my opinion. I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but I'm an old school SOL person.
You're going to drive the YouTube chat crazy with this. This is a real
New York Street Spectacle of Lights was not good. In my opinion.
By the way, Eric, did you know that we got a super chat?
We got a super chat?
Yes, okay.
We've already got a $20 super chat from Abby4343. She said, I do not need a vote, but I cannot let your show go by without a donation. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. We really appreciate these super chats. That lets Tom Corliss, maybe we'll get to have a show again next week. I don't know. Tom will say, look, they raised $20. They can keep their jobs. Anyway, I don't want to build boxes around this too much. What I want to say is you don't have to destroy something to bring something back. So you don't have to if you like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and you want to keep it, you can. But you'll also get the Great Movie Ride back in whatever form was your favorite. And the Backlot Tour, you can have the Backlot Tour in whatever form was your favorite. And the same thing with the Osborne Lights, whatever form is your favorite. I'm a little worried about what happens because I think the Backlot Tour could have gotten a glimpse of the Osborne Lights and maybe the poison. may be the poison pill
beer
here.
because I voted against a bar.
We knew we can't keep peace around the house. We're all locked in. Anyway, so yeah, I don't really care. This is a tough matchup, no matter how you slice it. Even if you put a pile of $1 million at the end of the ride, they're all going to be tough. So I want to kick off the discussion with Jason. Jason, why don't you go first? You drove on a Backlot Tour. You observed the Osborne Christmas lights, and you probably dealt with Fast Pass somehow with the Great Movie. I don't know. Anyway.
No, Great Movie never had Fast Pass.
It never had a Fast Pass. Okay.
I mean, it's the answer is clear, but there's more reasons than just I used to work there. It was the only place ever that myself, with 175 people on board, saw a topless Gina Lee Nolan from Baywatch waving like this. It was
what? Tell me the story.
I forgot to tell this story earlier. Like, she was shooting Sheena, Queen of the Jungle at the in the sound stages, and they were ending production. They had to do a pickup shot. Most of the she turned into a panther. And they did most of the shooting back in the swamps over by the landfills and the Magic Kingdom. Yeah. But they had to do a pickup shot along the edge of the retention pond behind Residential Street. So it was the last shot of the season, last shot of the series. The series is only on at 3 a.m. It was horrible, but still, it was a star. There were production. I'm leaving load, and and when she transformed from herself to the panther, she was naked with body paint because the CGI was 2003 era CGI.
All right, go on.
So I'm leaving load. The production crew is walking by, and like I see her from behind. She's wearing a robe, and I'm like, there's a celebrity. I'm going to point her out. I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, it's Gina Lee Nolan from Sheena and Baywatch. And she turns around. Her robe was wide open. And there she is. Nothing but silicone and body paint, just waving to everybody. I turned my microphone off because what do you say then? I could not speak all the way from there until like we went all the way through the costuming tunnel. I was silent. I didn't even give the tour because I didn't know what to do. I just showed like naked woman. It was. I mean, it was fantastic. I loved it.
You could tell from where you were. How many wives were smacking their husbands across the face for looking and gawking?
There were a lot, and kids like. I didn't know what to do. I was basically silent until almost the Golden Girls house. But it was still one of the best days of my life, but probably the worst Backlot Tour that I ever gave, or the best, depending on your point of view.
I don't know if the bleeping wife is going to come take your beer away again for that. I don't know. She's standing there.
She was working there.
Ready to whack you across the beak.
Another reason that I have to go to the Backlot Tour is because I met the bleeping wife at the Backlot Tour. She was working at the pre-show at the tank, and I was working down in shuttles. And so if there wasn't for the Backlot, if it wasn't for there, I would have no family, which is why I made this shirt. And So I had to go to the Backlot Tour for more than just Gina Lee Nolan's boobs.
You might have a marriage that ended up as a catastrophe. You never know who you could have met.
Exactly.
Eric Wolf, how about your analysis of this? This is a tough match. Look, this is tough.
Yeah.
It's great. We get to bring one of them back. I'm touched. I'm happy. Tom Corliss, if he's watching, is doing backflips. I know what he's picking, but we can still make the studios a studio again. I almost brought back the animation tour. We almost had a four-way matchup, animation tour, the magic of Walt Disney Animation. We could have done all this, but I want to hear your analysis. What's your take, Eric?
Yeah. So, no, like you said, like this is extremely hard. I love the Great Movie, love the Backlot Tour. As a young kid, I was into movies. I was into movie making. I was into all that and had books and all this. But then like going to MGM Studios, like able to ride the Backlot Tour and just seeing all of that was just like a dream come true for me. And then going into the movies was just an amazing thing. So yeah, no, this is hard, honestly. I have two, don't know which one I'm picking.
Tyler Mann.
This one is a bit easier for me. Okay, so
these have all been easy for you. You have very strong opinions on these things.
I have very strong, hard opinions about things. I like to be surprised. I like to be wrong about things too. Obviously, anyone could vote for anything else. I do not celebrate Christmas, so I do not like Christmas music. And I've never been to the parks during Christmas. So under just those circumstances, I am probably not going to vote for Spectacle of Dancing Lights. I could relive it by watching YouTube videos, but again, don't really care for holiday type music. I really love Backlot. I feel bad because this one was like the Backlot Tour host. So
yeah.
I feel tempted to vote for it just because this one is
this one. You call his name's Jason. He has a name. Yeah.
I know. I'm just like putting below.
What are we drinking, Jay? Wait, hold on. I need to pause you, Tyler. What are we drinking today, Jason?
Today, the beer of the day is an unholy triple ale from Coppertail in Tampa.
Oh, nice. All right, yeah. My friend, I don't know if you know this, my friend owns a brewery called Three Daughters in St. Pete. You should check it out.
You haven't mentioned that ever.
Yeah, my friend, I used to like to share an office with her. Anyway, her and her husband own Three Daughters Brewery. I'm on the rogue dead guy today. I don't know. I've drinking a little of everything, so it's getting hazy. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tyler. You may continue.
So Backlot is great. I like to talk about full experiences, and that really is like one of the ultimate full experiences. There's a little bit of everything. You go and watch a show, there's audience participation, you get to be in it. I've been in it a few times. It's super fun to do the harbor attack thing. And then you walk through like a prop shop, and then you get on the attraction. It has Catastrophe Canyon. You get to see some actual stuff. Back in the day, I remember when I was like 8 years old, we got to do the part where you walk through the other studios and the green screen stuff is there. Like, it really was a full experience.
Yeah.
If I bring something back, though, I really want to ride the Great Movie Ride more than I want to do a studio tour. I love the Great Movie Ride. It's an amazing dark ride experience. There's so much that happens in it. There's so much stuff to see as well, and I love the physical actors interacting, or the host interacting with the other surprise actors that pop up. It's certainly between those two for me, but I know which one I'm leaning more to.
Yeah, I'm really torn. Backlot Tour, I mean, that is what the studios is about, right? That, to me, that's what I want to see. If you tell me I'm going to a studio, I'm thinking I'm going to get a tour. I'm going to see some set pieces. I'm going to see all these things that it takes to make a movie. I love it. And Catastrophe Canyon was awesome. Everything about the Backlot Tour is great. Great Movie Ride. I will admit, there was a period of my life, I called it the Great Movie Yawn or the Great Movie Nap, where it was like I had seen it enough times. I just went on for the air conditioning, and it was like, okay, I get it. But I do miss it. I really miss the Great Movie Ride. It had some great moments in it, and I love, just like the Backlot Tour, you have a cast member who's engaged with you, who is presenting things to you, who's, there's that kind of interaction that you don't get on really anything now. And then the Osborne Christmas lights, the Festival of Dancing Lights, I love it. I love going with my friends and my family and go and take pictures as long as you want and walk around. And I have 50,000 pictures of this thing on my phone. So it's a tough matchup. I love all these things. If I can only bring one of them back, I'm really torn. We have to open this up for voting for the panel, though. And our first panelist to vote, I'm going to make Eric Wolf. Eric Wolf, go ahead and make your choice. Set the tone.
All right. So yeah, like you said, Spectacle of Dancing Lights, like I would go all the time, look for that black cat. that kept on moving year to year, sometimes week to week. It was kind of weird. But it's a seasonal thing.
Right.
And that's
wait. Seasonal now means closed. So when they moved Christmas Great Escape to seasonal, that doesn't mean they were closing it. All right. When they moved Primeval Girl to seasonal, that means it's closed. Although they were going to open it during like March, but obviously that didn't happen. Seasonal means closed. But your point is well taken. I understand. If we were to take their word, the Osborne Festival of Dancing Lights would be Osborne Family Festival of Dancing, whatever we want to call it.
Would just be during Christmas. And throughout the rest of the year, like what would you do in that space kind of thing? Because at least back then it was like a transition, to get from one place to another kind of thing. But we don't have that now. So if we're going to plop this somewhere else, I don't know. It'll be kind of weird. The Backlot Tour, like I said, I love all that behind the scenes movie stuff. Being able to see how things were made and, what they were made out of and this and that. But here's the thing. Hollywood Studios isn't about that anymore, unfortunately. And they're getting more and more into just being into the movies and being in the movies that you love and stuff. So my vote is going to go for the Great Movie Ride.
Great Movie Ride. 2 points.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I might have spit out part of my ice cube. Eric Wolf on the board with 2 points for the Great Movie Ride. Jason, let's hear you.
Okay,
I know your vote. I know your vote.
Clearly,
I don't want to hear
you know my vote. The Great Movie Ride. Okay, I'm also going to get flack for this, but I think that Runaway Railway is a better attraction than Great Movie Ride.
Well,
because
to be fair,
I know. I'm going to get flack.
To be fair, no. To be fair, the Great Movie Ride had declined, right? The last time I read
exactly at the end, where like half the AAs didn't work. And I was never a big fan of the Jason Sorrell "I See Dead People" spiel. The script after 2006. I wasn't a big fan. That's just me. But at least they had a spieling attraction. But I think Railway is a super fun must do every single time for a local attraction. Whereas as a local for GMR, it's like, oh, GMR's open. We haven't done it in like a couple months. Let's go ride it. Whereas
right.
I think Railway could be I only rode it once and then studios closed. So, but I think it may have rewrite ability, whereas GMR is a must-do every trip for people who are on vacation. And
you want to do it at least a gangster and a bandit, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that Spectacle of Lights, I said it earlier, was much better on Residential Street when it was basically what the original thing with Jennings Osborne and setting up his own, he got arrested and all that stuff, or not arrested, but sued.
Really? Scandalous.
Yeah. For his, you didn't know that story?
No.
They told it.
Tell me.
At the beginning of well, no, he got sued, not arrested. He got sued by his neighbors, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. It was it's in the opening spiel every night that when you
I knew that. I thought maybe he got arrested. Like maybe they said turn those lights off. He said, "Damn it, I will not turn these lights off. I'm mad as hell."
He got sued by his neighbors, and when they didn't like it, he bought their houses because he wasn't a nice person. But but on Residential Street, it was so much better. It was quaint. The music between the different houses was different, and I liked it better there. So I would bring back the Backlot Tour with Residential Street, and then you could add in the old Osborne lights, but not the new dancing lights that gave you seizures.
I'll let you have that fantasy. All right, so 2 points for the Backlot Tour. That also includes sort of the Osborne Festival dancing
as a loophole.
All right. Right. I'm going to go next. I will let Tyler go last. I'm going to go next. And this is obviously this is the toughest matchup, which is why I saved it for last. I love the Osborne lights. I love the Backlot Tour. I like the Great Movie Ride, but I miss the Great Movie Ride a lot. but nothing really the studio aspect of what kind of I think the original vision of the studios is the Backlot Tour. So like Animal Kingdom, like the thing it's about is the safari, right? Am I wrong? Like that's the thing, right? You go to the Animal Kingdom, you go on a safari. If I go to the studios, I want to go to the Backlot Tour. So I missed that, and I'm going to vote 2 points for the Backlot Tour. Tyler, you're last.
I was going to say, if you're going to studios, wouldn't you want to go to like the centerpiece of the park, which is the Great Movie Ride? But the centerpiece of Animal Kingdom is this torture chamber called Tough to Be a Bug. So, I mean,
you get drilled in the ass.
You would go to look at the tree, but you wouldn't necessarily go, oh, I'm going to go into the theater that just happens to be under the tree. I feel like if I live on it now, I might like it. But anyways, I'm going to vote for Great Movie Ride. As much as I love the Backlot, as much as it's a full experience, I was so crushed when the Great Movie Ride was closed.
Yeah. A lot of us are, and there were a lot of cast members there that great performers that had fun, have great memories of that. They're like, you know, I think most people know, if you're a cast member or you're local, you know, like the studios in general was like a tight knit group, right? It's kind of a
very
boutique
tight
park. The studios in general, tight family, boutique park at the time anyway. And so there's a lot of emotional connection with all these attractions, which makes it kind of cruel to put them against each other to bring them back. But at the same time, we don't make the rules. Mr. Chapek does. He is the CEO in name only, and he has decided that we can bring one back. What a generous man. We're going to open up the voting. Eric, go ahead and open up the voting. I'm going to step away for a second. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back in a little minute. All right.
When I was a volunteer for Backlot, there's a video. I don't know if we can bring it up. It existed like when I posted a week ago. Doggo! My favorite thing to do on the Backlot when you're like volunteering in the first portion of it during Harbor Attack, I like to pretend that I didn't know what was happening. Even though they run through everything beforehand, they're like, okay, you're going to sit like this. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk into the thing. And they're explaining it as it's happening. But there's a bit where they're like, Tyler, you're going to go sit in their thing and you're going to get a little bit wet. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, well, actually, that little bit of water I talked about was more like 3,000 gallons. And the video of me in the thing, like sitting down, is like
that's fantastic.
I have no idea what's happening and going like, what? And it's the funniest video that I've ever done. That was one of my favorite things. Because I don't know if people
My wife has a ton of tank stories like that. Each one of the cannons that shot out, like the air cannons that were under the water, they had we called it the magic wand. Like when maintenance would test things, it was this wand with a magnet on it, and if they pointed, they were sensors underneath the walkway, and so like if they're trying to fix something, they would just aim the magic wand at the walkway, and like the one specific air cannon would fire. And
oh, cool.
One time when our manager found out about that, one morning before the park opened, all of a sudden we just hear boom, boom, boom. And there was Chuck in back then. It was management still had to wear ties. They had to wear like shirt and ties. They couldn't like the relaxed business casual dress code that they have now wasn't there. There he is in his shirt and tie, soaking wet because he just kept setting off the air cannons. He had to go to wardrobe and change, and then laundry had to dry all of his clothes. It was the funniest thing ever.
Laundry didn't dry his clothes. He tried to make a dryer
in the millionaire break room. That's right. My wife just corrected me.
Why is there a dryer in the break room?
Well, Millionaire had not in the break room, next to the green room, because they'd have their own wardrobe, because when it was a soundstage, they had their own dryers back there. So
Superstar Television.
No, he didn't put the boot in the air cannon. Chris
Voting
Bishop put the boot in the air
now
cannon.
open.
No, that day
You
he
can
was.
break a tie. So we were tied with 4-4. We had Backlot 4, Great Movie Ride 4, and none of our panelists had voted for the Osborne Dancing Lights. Hey, just can we get the graphic one more time before we tabulate these votes? I want Disney Deathmatch.
Disney Deathmatch!
Yeah, Disney Deathmatch. All right. How are we looking? Do you need some time to? Oh, wait a minute. Breaking news. We have a super chat vote.
No, they didn't vote.
It's not a vote. It's just a straight donation, $9.99 from Stephen Sam Filippo.
Oh, wait.
Filippo, thank you, Stephen.
They did vote in the main vote, but they didn't specify what their super chat vote was going to go to. So should that count?
Should that count? Stephen, was your intent to, if you could put that in the chat for us, was your intent for your $9.99 to count towards your vote? I don't see anything yet. We'll give them a few moments. In the meantime, we can go over the tabulations. Assume it was not counted, and we can count it later. We can add 8 votes to that. I'll give them a roundup.
They said
How
no. So
no, it does not count as a vote. Okay.
Super chat should not count as a vote.
Well, we appreciate. Thank you very much for your kind donation. We appreciate that. How are we looking, Eric?
Sorry, give me a second.
Must be close.
We just got another super chat. Granted, they did not vote for.
$20 from More Beverly, please. More Beverly. Oh, my favorite drink, Beverly and vodka. More Beverly, please. Bring back Germany. Love the show. Keep up the great work. He says. Oh yeah, we. Jason, if you do not know, last week in Disney Deathmatch, it was our inaugural Disney Deathmatch segment. We had the Axis powers countries against each other. So we had Germany versus Italy versus Japan. And unfortunately, Germany found an untimely death. We did get rid of the Germany pavilion last week. It doesn't matter because this week we start anew. Maybe Germany will be there when Epcot opens back up. I guess I'll check with Disney. I don't know. I don't know how seriously.
Italy, personally.
Not a $20 vote for it. So shouldn't that change the vote from last week?
Can we go back in time? I don't know if we can go back because somebody gave a $25 donation for Japan, if I recall correctly, last week. So we are just on a cusp of these tabulations being final. Although I'm easily bought. If somebody puts in the right super chat, we could change the results even after these. You got them, Eric?
Yes, I do.
We were Backlot. Our panel had Backlot 4, Great Movie Ride 4, Osborne Lights 0. What are we at now?
So in all, just Great Movie Ride has. Oh, just for the chat. Give me a second. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, you can give me the total. It's fine if you're counting our votes. That's fine.
So Great Movie Ride in all has 7. 3 of those came from the chat.
Okay.
Spectacle of Dancing Lights has 4 from the chat. And then Backlot Tour has 8 from the chat, 12 in all.
So 12 for the Backlot Tour, 7 for the Great Movie Ride, 4 for the Osborne Family. I don't know the right name. Osborne Family Festival of Dancing Lights. Is that right? Did I get it right? Is that what it's called?
Spectacle of Lights or Dancing Lights.
Anyway, Jason, we're going to need you to put your shirt back on because we're bringing back the Backlot Tour. Yeah, hold on. He's gonna put the shirt back on. We're bringing the Backlot Tour back, and we're bringing Shuttle 37 back out of retirement because that was the least reliable one. There we go. The Backlot Tour is making its turn to Disney Hollywood Studios as soon as I'm given ownership of the parks. So I'll make you I will make you the supreme commander of the shuttle fleet, if that helps.
Before we get started, I'm going to need to do a quick sound check. If you can hear me in the back, I'm going to need a big old Disney wave. Okay, everybody on this side, you might be getting a little bit wet, but everybody on the right-hand side, you're going to get soaked because that's where the water comes from.
I love it. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been a really fun episode. Tyler, it's your first time on the episode. I want to thank you. You've been great. I obviously want to thank Jason / Earl for joining us, and Eric Wolf, as always, we thank you. I also want to thank Pete Carney. I want to thank Kevin Lake for running the 1s and 2s, and Jill Diffendahl for joining us for the first hour. If you have not joined our WIGS program, please give it a whirl. Go to patreon.com/ WDWNT. You can support us for as little as $2 a month. Eric Wolf is pulling his hair out. I don't know what's going on here, but we do that. Please check out. I know the first I know some people were like, "Wow, the whole first hour was a recap." Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. We ended up producing a lot of content to go over last week, and actually, to be honest with you, last week you saw me struggle a little bit in the first hour when I flew through the recap, and I was like, "Oh, I lost a page of what we were going through." So anyway, we appreciate you joining us. Hopefully, this show will be. I think we'll be back next Saturday, and hopefully the parks will be opening soon, and we can all go do that instead. Hold on a second. I have a very important message coming in. Oh yeah, I want to plug Trapped on Vacation. Lee wanted me to make sure I plug Trapped on Vacation. You can go to www.trappedonvacation.com. You can see episodes. Do you have every episode going back 15 years on your website, Jason?
Every single episode is still up there.
Every single one.
Yeah, I've been paying $20 a month every month for 15 years, however much that is. Yeah.
There, you can also check it out on iTunes, but I know that iTunes wiped out a couple of your episodes because you had the audacity to say the word "damn." Is that correct?
Yes. Well, okay. What happened was when Google Play started having podcasts, I switched my RSS feed to include tags for Google Play, and Apple does not like that. Apple dropped me from iTunes. So then I had to make a separate feed for one for Google Play and one for Apple. And when I resubmitted my feed, they went in and they checked all of my show descriptions. And I said I had a show title with the word hell in it and a show title with the word damn in it. And since I was marked as family friendly, even though those are words that they say on Modern Family, and yeah, they booted me from iTunes and Apple Podcasts because I had the word hell and damn in my show titles. But they didn't tell me that. They just wouldn't. Yeah, it took me 2 years to get back in. I had to drop everything. So now I have I actually produce 2 podcasts every year, or whenever I do it, like 2 or 3 times a year. One specifically for Apple that doesn't have any bad language, like the first. Well, actually, last year it didn't have. It's a long story, but I have to have a censored version to have the family friendly. Because it used to be you could mark one episode as explicit, and Apple would just they wouldn't push that out unless you accepted explicit things. But now it's either all or nothing. But they didn't let me know that they changed their policies, and it took me 2 years to get back in iTunes, and now I'm back. I was back last year, but
we're happy you're back. We're happy you're back. We're happy we can go to your website and find all of the episodes you've done, tons of binaural audio, probably of some attractions that no longer exist, probably of the Backlot Tour, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So
I think there was actually me at the Backlot.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Maybe.
So you can hear Jason doing his Backlot spiel back in a day. I love it. Thanks for joining us, Jason. I had a lot of fun today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
In a while. Let's get together when this is all over. You know how to find us. Tyler, it's been a pleasure as always. Well, this is my first time on the show. Eric Wolf, it's a pleasure as always. Kevin Lake on the dials. It's been great. You guys have a great Saturday. Have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, whatever the other things are that we say. Thanks for tuning in today. We will see you next week. Thanks for joining us on Locked In with Eric Morton.